I wish I could be a Cindy or a Dawn on any given day because they are fantastic. And Clara, those are the three that are almost consistently here, just like every day. And
My mods
I've learned so much from Cindy, and Dawn has more than once put me in my place, and I so appreciate it because I need a good smacking now and again.
I feel as I also am a masochist. I love when people tell me off. That really happens. I mean, I'm MAGA tries. What it's actually someone saying something that's real, you know. I'm the same way. I love when people okay, I'm live on YouTube finally. Thank you, Fish Trucker, for pointing out. I don't know what was going on, but now I think I'm listening on a second stream in one of my ears. The sound sounds good. Live on TikTok and Twitch and YouTube. So I think now people can hear us
for a little while until they figure their shit out. Because
I know I started doing lives on my phone too. Because
I think that's what's going to have to happen.
I don't know what's happening.
Fix your shit, TikTok.
If you're alone, it's one thing, but when you have guests, seems to be a different thing.
Yeah. Fix your shit. Okay, so. I have no idea what anybody heard about anything, so
I can start a new topic because I have a million things to talk about. I'm just gonna put a background up really quick since we're in bigger boxes. Yeah, okay,
perfect.
And I hate staring at my blank wall.
I don't think I have anything on my phone because I literally never go live on my phone. I have no backgrounds to put up on my phone. So
I like your back. It's kind of, at least something's back there.
There's something back there.
Yeah, like you got something going on. It's
a bunch
nice.
of theater stuff behind me. So.
Let me pull up I have a list of things I wanted to talk about and I will talk about either tomorrow or today. Okay. Let me, I want to talk, mainly about the big, beautiful bill. And do you want to speak to, you have been working for Vote for Vets. Like, I know I've done I've talked to some people about how the big, beautiful bill cuts veterans benefits. Do you want to speak to that?
So it's going to happen in one of two ways, right? Well, it's actually going to happen in a couple of ways, not one of two. It's going to happen in a couple of ways. So here's something that a lot of people don't realize when you're talking about military retirees, right? So let's talk about people that are retired from the military. So there's a couple of different ways that you can get retired from the military. One is you're medically retired. So you got injured, you got hurt, whatever. So the Marine Corps is like, or the military is just like, all right, we're going to, you've done all that you can. It's not good for you to stay in. So we're going to give you full retirement as if you've stayed in for 20 years, whatnot. So you get your health, your medical benefits and things like that, base access and commissary access and all that shit, right? Get your little blue ID card. The other way is, you stay in for...
You get TRICARE.
You get TRICARE.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get, and then the other way is you stay in for the allotted amount of time. You can retire early, in some cases at like 18 years or whatnot, but normally it's when you hit 20 years plus, then you're eligible for retirement from the military. And so, and then you again get your...
How long were you in the military?
I was in for 9 years.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was in for 9 years.
I know. It's
like medically retired.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, if you are in combat, what are the chances? That's like saying, do you know how few people survive, let's say, the NFL for 20? Because you physically, like, it's insane to think you need to survive 20 years in the military for retirement. But anyways, if you're in combat, like, you will have no cartilage in your body by that point.
Crazy arthritis in my hips and shit now because of my time in the Marine Corps. So
that's why I'm asking. Someone said TRICARE isn't bad. That's the point. I think TRICARE is the gold standard of universal health care that's just available to the military in this country. If I could say a healthcare model, Medicare's good, TRICARE is better.
I will say TRICARE is a pain in the ass for doctors and providers to work with because it's there are things that can be improved to make the system better.
Oh yeah, but that's with the government and streamlining a system. Right. I'm saying for the person,
itself, though, TRICARE is great. For
people who have TRICARE and Medicare. on top of each other,
and so
right?
here's the thing. So what a lot of people don't know is that when a military retiree hits 65 years old, for them to be eligible to keep their TRICARE benefits, they also have to be enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B, right? So now here's how the big, beautiful bill, the big, stupid bill that Donald Trump, pushed for and bullied Republicans into voting for, is going to affect that. There's a law in the books, and I can't remember the name of the law right now, but when an exorbitant amount of debt is added to the deficit all at once, it triggers and it cuts funding from other places to make up that shortfall.
Are you talking about the Medicare cuts? Yeah. Is it cutting from TRICARE as well? Yeah.
Well,
I talked about this all last week.
Here's the thing, though, right? So, it's not directly cutting from TRICARE.
The Save As You Go bill.
Yeah. It's not the directly cutting from TRICARE that's the problem, right? Because that would affect veterans across the board. But when you turn 65 years old and you're a retired military service member, you have to be enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B. According to the Congressional Budget Office, $500 billion with a B is due to be cut from Medicare coverage.
Yeah.
Because of the pay-as-you-go bill that is going to, because of the amount. So when you have $500 billion or whatever, save as you go.
No, I think you're right. It's pay as you go.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I was like, wait, no, you said it right. I said it wrong.
But it's, so when you have $500 billion taken out of Medicare Part A and Part B, right? Out of Medicare across the board, right? How many of the veterans who served 20 plus years or were medically retired from the military? Right now, we're looking at Korean War vets. There's still a couple of World War II vets. You've got Vietnam vets, the first Gulf War vets that are hitting that 65 years or older age who are on TRICARE who.
You just muted. I can't hear you now.
Sorry, I had a stupid fucking phone.
Okay, there we go. Now I can hear you. For a second, I couldn't hear you. We're on Medicare Part A and B. Now we can hear you.
So, you have all of these veterans that are retired who are wanting to keep their TRICARE benefits that have to be enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B to keep their TRICARE benefits after 65 years old. But if you cut $500 billion from the Medicare program, how many veterans are going to lose their TRICARE benefits because they cannot, by law, they have to be by law, but they cannot enroll in Medicare because they've cut $500 billion from it.
Well, and that's what I want to talk about. I've read the pay-as-you-go bill, and I want to explain that because this is Donald Trump. I mean, he said he was not going to cut Medicaid. That has turned out to be a lie. I mean, He said unequivocally he would never touch Medicare. And I spent, the largest part of my week, that 48 hours, I watched Capitol Hill happen in real time. I did lives 2 days that were 5 hours plus. And that was one of my main messages, that he lied. And $500 billion. So we're talking about $500 billion. Medicare, we paid into, right? Our taxes that we're told this is going to be here for you when you need it is going to be stolen. And if you're wondering how that happens, right? I want to just explain it because it's fascinating to understand the numbers. So what it is while MAGA, you delusionally believe that Trump is saving you money. The single largest blowout to the deficit, when was that? It was in Trump's first term with the TCJA, right? Single largest presidential term that added the most to the debt was Trump in his first term. And now this bill, right, the big, beautiful bill, has blown out the deficit more than any other bill in U.S. history and added more to the debt than any other bill in U.S. history. So those are the facts. Now, what the Pay-as-You-Go Act said was a bill passed. I can't even remember when, but I'm not going to say in a year because I'm going to get it wrong. But I read the bill, and what it is anytime the deficit is blown out and if you, let me just give, because I know MAGA, you don't even know what the deficit is. But when the deficit is blown out, meaning we are taking in less revenue than we're spending, that was the problem with Trump's first term. He said, I'm going to spend. Don't worry, these random tariffs will make up for it. No, I'm going to give tax cuts, bring in less tax revenue, make billionaires and corporations not have to pay taxes, and mismanage the budget, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the Pay-As-You-Go Act says anytime the deficit is wider than 2.3 trillion, that triggers cuts to certain avenues. One of them, thank God, this bill doesn't include Social Security. So if you're worried about Social Security being robbed, it doesn't include Social Security. But for 4%, like in Medicare, the reason we know that it's 500 billion. How do we know that number? Well, we're talking about 10 years or 9 years technically, right? 45 billion a year, because there's a 4% yearly cap on how much can be stolen from Medicare to try to control the deficit, right? And understand, this bill, the Pay-As-You-Go Act, is triggered at 2.3 trillion. Trump is widening the deficit, and this is from the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. Now I'm listening at liars like Mike Johnson say, well, we don't know if they're right. They take the bill that is passed and they analyze it mathematically. Math is not wrong. The minimum this will raise the deficit is 3.3 trillion, or widen the deficit. Yeah. Between how much is going out versus coming in. $3.3 trillion, right? And every year, $45 billion starting June, I believe it's January 1st, or it's either January 1st or the start of the fiscal year. It's one or the other, will be shaved off from the money that we were taxed, told when we're old and we need medical care, this will be there for you, is going to be stolen. There's also many other buckets. There's no cap on those buckets. 100% of that is going to be taken. And I'm now quoting, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office just does math. Math is not wrong, MAGA. Cry yourself to sleep. Math is never wrong. Right. And what they said was, if we take the 4% cap year over year, and we take 100% from the other buckets that are included in the Pay-As-You-Go Act, we will not get below 2.3 trillion in the deficit. Yeah. That's how much Trump has robbed us of and mismanaged the budget. Right. Period.
Yep. And so when you're talking about how this is going to affect veterans specifically, you're about to see retirees, military retirees, lose their TRICARE benefits, lose their health care benefits that they got as a part of their retirement package, because by law, for them to maintain TRICARE coverage when they turn 65 years old, they have to be enrolled in Medicare Part A and Part B. And it's just not going to be there. It's just not going to be there. And so you're going to have veterans that are 65 years or older right now that are going to get kicked off of Medicare and lose their TRICARE benefits because of it. And then you're going to have veterans that are going to age into that aren't going to be able to keep their TRICARE benefits because they can't get on Medicare Part A and Part B. They have to be enrolled in both. I want you all to understand that. They have to be enrolled in both Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B. Okay? They have to be enrolled in both. And if they're not, then they are not eligible for TRICARE. Okay?
How it usually works, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it like once you're 65 and over, the default is Medicare Part A and Part B, and then what's not covered there defaults to TRICARE.
To TRICARE. Yeah. Yes, that's correct. That's how that works. And it's just not going to be there. And so you're going to, so this idea, and this is why I get so fucking upset with Republicans and conservatives, because they're all, veterans, why do we got the month of June being Pride Month and veterans only have one fucking day and blah, blah, blah. And then you all are silent when the federal government, under your party's control, cuts healthcare benefits for retired veterans. You're silent. That's a good cut. That's a good cut for you. Fuck those veterans. Fuck those Korean War vets and those Vietnam vets. Fuck those guys. They don't need health care. What did they do? What did they do? What did they go through? They don't need help. Fuck those people.
Exactly. It's insane. And I've been doing a ton of research on all of this, and we are all losers, right? I got a couple clips together just from, I can't remember when I was debating or when this all popped up, but some uninformed MAGA man who's low on math, high on feelings was like, name a couple economists. You don't know any economists. Like, you're just saying things and you don't know if that's true or not. I just want to play one clip of an economist talking about what Trump's big beautiful bill actually does, because this is the reality. And this is one of my I have many favorite economists. My favorite one is Richard Wolff, who's a Marxist economist from the University of Massachusetts Amherst, but this is not him. Justin Wolfers, I would say for all intents and purposes, he actually is a capitalist in general, but I think it's important to realize this was his quote on the big beautiful bill. This is the reality, MAGA. I know you think that, like, if you voted for Donald Trump, somehow he's going to protect you. He wouldn't rob you. This is the reality. This is an economist who's also a professor who teaches economics, explaining to you how delusional you are.
Nicole, I want to highlight one really important part of the current budget discussion. So you're talking right now about this very important issue, which is how much we spend versus we tax. That's the budget deficit. There's also a Robin Hood aspect. How much do we take from who and what do we give to who? This is the anti-Robin Hood. This is, according to one of my favorite budget wonks, Bobby Kogan. He said this is the largest redistribution from poor to rich in American history. So if you're okay with those at the bottom end of the income distribution getting by with less, because you think it's important that those at the very top end get tax cuts and therefore have more resources to get by, that's fine by you. But for those of us with a heart, honestly, it breaks our hearts a little bit.
That's the reality. And I can do a statistical analysis. I talk about this all the time. From 1980 to 2022, when we first started hearing about don't tax the rich, don't tax corporations, it'll trickle down. $50 trillion did trickle somewhere. Straight up. It defied gravity. Defied gravity, went straight to the top. Mm-hmm. You are being robbed.
Yes, 100%. 100%. There's been numerous studies, and there's a really big one that was done, I think it was out of Cambridge or whatnot, maybe 8 years ago.
I saw this Cambridge professor last week dog walk Charlie Kirk. Oh my God.
Not just the professor, but the students also.
I mean, the dumbest, Charlie Kirk was the dumbest person in that room times 1,000. Yeah. And like watching him like flail around in panic while a professor was like, bless your heart, little idiot.
Yeah.
I have watched so many. I'm going to show clips of that tomorrow on the People's Receipts. Like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk like thinks going to college campuses and talking to like confused 17-year-olds who are partially high, you know what I mean, and then feeling like a man. Don't show up at Cambridge and try to debate an economics professor, and a foreign policy guy. Like, are you out of your mind?
Oh my God, it was
that was the scariest moment of Charlie Kirk's life.
It was so good. I could just in real time see his face getting smaller on camera. Like, it just kept shrinking.
He started talking faster and faster.
His head like kept getting bigger and his face kept shrinking into itself like it was being devoured by a black hole.
By the end, 8 of 10 statements he was making were feelings. And that's what the professor was saying. I was like, I'm confused. Like, is that a fact? Or like, what are you talking about?
I love when the professor was like, well, Zelensky can't hold an election right now because constitutionally they're under military law and they're not allowed to. And then Charlie Kirk was like, well, no, he could do it. He could just say.
Well, he's like, well, just take like a poll of sentiment.
Like,
it's like, and the guy was like, you mean like public polling, which are like, disproportionately in the favor of Zelensky?
He's like, they could just take a vote of people in the country and see how they feel about it. And he was like, you mean an opinion poll?
I could not. And then the best part, all I could think was like, Charlie, you just buried your. Okay, Charlie, so people who aren't holding elections, we shouldn't give money.
Right.
Let's start with Netanyahu. Can we
Right.
start with Netanyahu, Charlie? Because you're like the biggest Netanyahu, so we should no longer give money to Israel until they hold elections. Like, follow your own line of logic, weirdo. If you haven't seen what we're talking about, Charlie Kirk had the nerve to go to Cambridge in England and debate a professor in public while everyone laughed at him for like 40 minutes.
I think it was more ego. Like, I think Charlie Kirk was like, I talk to people all the time. I can go talk to these doctors.
People who know actual things.
Policy and shit.
My God. And that professor, you could tell he was just like,
oh, he's like,
bless. He was like, can you calm? You're flailing around. Calm down.
Like, do you need a break? Do you need a cup of water?
He was just like, but I don't understand.
Would you like some more milk?
I know. That was, I literally was like, I guess this will give me the will to continue on. Watching someone point, because I've said this, I have talked to people and they're like, Charlie Kirk, I wouldn't debate him. He's so smart. I'm like, I have never heard Charlie Kirk say anything but his feelings in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Data is not on the side. This is what I keep saying. If your brain works, and when I debate 19-year-old males, particularly, you know, because I don't like to yell at women. And I don't, you know, just the debate world is a lot of 19-year-old red pill bros who want to scream at me. Yeah. So I just also don't talk to 19-year-old women, but also 19-year-old women disproportionately, even though Trump says they voted for him, they did not. So that's a rare occurrence. But the 19-year-old red pill bros, if their brains are working, I'm just like, hey, just keep thinking. Because if you can analyze data, then you just have to move left. Like, period.
Yeah. Just keep going.
Like, for those few people, because most of MAGA's just, it's like middle-aged men who are like, I feel like someone's stealing from me. It's like, I know you. And that's the perfect example of South Africans. That's why I like to talk about the actual data, because I get it. Equity, equality, right? When you are used to 100% privilege, and now maybe you're getting 70% privilege, that feels maybe like discrimination to white males, right? Because I don't think women are having, we have never enjoyed that level of privilege. So like, I feel like women are less delusional and we don't sit in that privilege at all. Look at the wage gap, look at the wage gap between women and men in this country. But like white males are like, someone's taking something from me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it's twofold. Number one, yes, MAGA, you are being robbed by the people you keep voting for.
Yes, exactly.
Mathematically, the largest transfer of wealth in a bill, the big, beautiful bill just happened, and you were robbed. You're just unclear. You still are looking at brown people who have nothing, who are arriving to the southern border in rags and like being like, where's my money? They don't have it.
It's not with them. They didn't bring it with them. You know who's got it is Elon Musk and Tim Apple.
And you talk like temporary embarrassed millionaires. Like the only thing I can think of is like white males are like, I'll be up there soon.
Yeah.
Just one good idea while I'm gaming and using the devil's lettuce away.
I've got the next Bud Light flavor that's going to put me over the top. Like, y'all are.
All Elon Musk did was be born into obscene wealth. Like, you can look up his stepsister's his mommy. Like, that's obscene wealth. It's okay for your stepsister to be your mommy. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you obviously don't know anything about the history of Space Karen's family. Elon Musk's stepsister is his mommy now.
Yeah.
Like, that's how effed up that rich But when you're rich, that's, I guess...
Whatever.
Whatever. My stepsister is now technically my stepmommy.
Yeah.
Totally normal. And Errol Musk, you do you. But that's the reality. Elon Musk grew up in obscene wealth in apartheid. Like, I mean, and all you're seeing is someone who bought technology, took his obscene wealth and is like, oh, here's some guys that invented electric car technology, Tesla. He bought that.
Buy that company.
Yeah, and then he was like, I did this.
Sue them and settle out of court to let him say that he founded the company. I want you all to recognize that. Elon Musk claims that he's the founder of Tesla. he sued the founders of Tesla. And because he had such obscene wealth, he could just drag that shit out, and they were running out of money. So they settled that. And in the settlement, it says that he can claim that he founded Tesla.
For sure.
That's Elon Musk. Okay.
For
that's
sure. And I love when people, or like people I love, like I've had to get, if you Google Elon Musk, it says he's a rocket scientist. Well, if a 4-year undergrad physics degree makes you a rocket scientist, like I have to explain this to people. Mm-hmm. Like, do you believe that you go to undergrad? I don't care if you major in art or you major in physics. 4 years of undergrad of and drinking doesn't qualify you to do anything. You are not, in fact, a rocket scientist. I have to explain to people that Elon Musk changed the internet, right? Like, yeah. And they're like, no, he's a rocket. He builds rockets. Oh, is that
what he does?
He
blows up a lot of them.
But those are real rocket sciences, like who are blowing up the rockets. And like, if crazy? Elon Musk had to build them himself, 100% of the rockets would not 100%. Be making
was
it
listening
into
to
space.
A NASA scientist talk about how, it's really easy for Elon Musk to claim that he's a successful, space venturing company, because he's not being held accountable every time a fucking rocket of his explodes on the launch pad or in air. Like he's not held accountable for that. He's like, imagine if NASA was developing a rocket that we were going to be sending to space, and only like 6% of them actually got off the fucking ground.
That was the Challenger. And what happened to NASA after the Challenger explosion?
Yeah.
Like we shut down NASA.
Gone.
But this guy can just blow up as many rockets. It's an oopsies.
Shut down the entire southeast airspace because one of his rockets exploded over the Gulf of Mexico.
And pieces were trickling down into the airspace to hit planes that were flying.
Yeah. It's, oh my God. Anyway, I don't remember how we got on this topic.
There's a billionaire in the chat. Tony, do you want to come up and tell us about how you feel about the big, beautiful bill? I haven't talked to you in a long time, but I see don't terrorize people in the chat, Tony. Have you met Tony Ravioli?
No.
He's the heir to the Boyardi fortune. And I'm not saying that lightly. I mean, I know for sure.
Oh.
And like he's 100%. Not a very nice person, and he's very full of himself and thinks he knows everything, and absolutely nobody is right. He's only the only one that's right.
Love that for him. Hey, Tony Ravioli, if you could maybe just fix whatever the fuck's going on with your beefaroni product. 'Cause I don't know.
No, he talks about this. I mean, that's the issue. Like USDA and FDA food regulations, right? He can serve us dog food here. Tony regularly talks about that. Like that's why in the UK, the products, Chef Boyardee products in America, you can't sell them in the UK. I'm just saying. But that would be RFK. I mean, that's what these people are supposed to be fixing. But anyone that lobbies Trump then can serve us dog food.
I'm just saying, Tony, maybe instead of sitting here on TikTok arguing about this shit, maybe go fix your shitty fucking food. Maybe go do that instead.
He sold it. It's owned by ConAgra. It's really not. He owns stock in ConAgra. Do you know anything about the grocery cartel? I did a deep financial dive on Tony Ravioli. It's really not his responsibility.
Well,
it's not.
Tony seems like a loser. So. Yeah,
I'm just saying, I did follow them. I do look in. I mean, the ConAgra, Heinz Kraft, the Heinz Kraft merger.
Bring him up for a second.
I was say he's in the request. If you want him, I can bring him up. I don't recommend it, but.
What do you want?
Hey, Tony.
Hey there, Felice. Good to see you again.
Pleasure as always. Tony's committed to, if I disappear because of Trump's policies, to getting me out of lockup. Is that still true, or you're going back on that?
Well, you are one of the only people that has my private number to reach out to me all time. So it's really interesting.
So many weirdos on this app who have your cell phone number. I'm not going to start listing them, but please don't act like we have some special relationship. Don't make me start listing the weirdos on this app who have your cell phone number.
I said you are one of the only people that has them. You actually have my private telephone number. They have my business phone. You know, they can reach out to me on business, and it gets redirected 100 different times. But
allegedly, if I disappear, are you prepared to use your wealth to find me?
You're not going to disappear, are you?
Like, when I found out that I was on my name, which Matt, I'm sure yours is too, but there's several lists on the dark web that have a lot of creators on TikTok specifically. If you've posted anti-Trump content, our names are on lists on the dark web. I used to work. What?
I've been on lists for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what Tony said to me when I was like, hey, I just think like I'm in a situation now where I can find my name on the dark web on more than one list, which I can now directly link these same lists I'm talking about to people who have been disappeared, right? Like, so these aren't lists that are just like, oh, nothing's ever going to happen, right? People who speak out against Trump are in fact being faced with litigation. Like, this is not me being overwhelmed. And the last time I contacted him, I was like, hey, I can find my list or name on multiple lists on the dark web of these quote unquote nonprofits who are making lists of people who oppose Trump online, that they are using these lists to then disappear or, you know, tie people up in litigation. And Tony's like, I've been on lists for years. That was his response to me. Who cares?
But I have been on lists for years. You know, I mean, I'm a foreign agent. I mean, it's just one of those things that I had to do. I mean, I'm known from one side of the government to the other side. You know this. So yeah, I've been on all of these lists. Yeah, sometimes I get where. That's why when you reached out to me, I said, of course I'd help you.
Okay.
If people don't know, there are Republican nonprofits who are forming lists of students who've ever been to a pro-Palestinian protest, of creators who make pro-Palestinian content. All of these lists are being formed on the dark web, and they're used to disappear people.
But Felice, if you look at my alternate account, you will see that I post pro-Palestinian, in your face, anti-Republican.
Honey, you're a billionaire. I don't think they're coming for you. Okay, I don't think the government can afford to disappear you.
I actually almost sometimes want to say, put posts out there and say to the Secretary of State, come after me. Let's see where you go with it.
Yes, let's do that. Why don't you? Yeah. Why don't you could be the martyr for attention that's like, I'm just standing in the way of the left. I'm the only person in between you and them. Can you just answer me this? So the big, beautiful bill, it's the largest transfer of wealth in a bill in the history of the United States. Thoughts on that?
It makes no difference to me whatsoever. That's my thought.
It wouldn't. It wouldn't. It's not going to affect you.
Well, absolutely. I don't understand why it's been done. I mean, I understand some of the things when you're talking about the Medicare or the Medicaid. I mean, I understand how traumatic that is for people to lose that benefit. I mean, I grew up in a social country where Medicaid was for everybody. So it's what I've been used to. I've never understood why we have collectively not done anything about it now. I mean, the only thing that I could say is perhaps, and I mean this with all sincerity, perhaps if enough people lose it over the next 4 years, that if the Democrats get back into power, they might actually pull their fucking fingers out of their ass, which they haven't done for the last 20 years, and force it through. Because nobody seems to do it. You all talk about it. Hang on about it, Mr. Veteran. Everybody talks about it, but nobody gets it done. And I am actually
How would they go about getting it done, though?
Well, how about let's
forcing
electing the
it through?
people?
How would you go about forcing it through? Like, explain that to me.
Well, first of all, you've obviously got to have the electoral people. You've got to have the numbers in Congress to do it. So if you want to be able to, if there's enough people in this country that will lose it and they will go, because a lot of this is going to be from, let's just say, South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia.
Tony, I could use your own words against you, though. Tony, you once screamed at me when I was screaming at you about abortion law. You told me that because you're rich, because you pay money, because you can give hundreds of thousands or millions to causes, that your opinion matters more than mine. That is something that you shared with me, right? So you are now giving advice about if we just have a majority, when you very much understand how Congress works and how Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, was universal health care. And once lobbyists get their hands on it, once money comes into play inside Congress, what came out was what it looked like after lobbies got a hold of it.
Well, let me ask a question. You said if, the voters supported a universal Medicare for all type system, then something could happen. 57% of people in this country support the idea of a Medicare for all system. So why hasn't it happened yet?
Because because we don't have a direct democratic way of electing. We have a Republican form of government, which allows the elected representatives at the end of the day to make the decisions on behalf of the people.
And so if 57% of the people, if 57% of the people want this to happen, then why aren't the representatives that represent the people in Congress making it happen?
Because the people don't vote for their best interests. It's very simple.
Okay, yeah, but again, you said if the people wanted it, then they would be able to do it in Congress, is what you said.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay, so the people want it to happen. So why isn't it happening?
Then they'd have to vote for the party that they don't like.
Again, you said that if the people wanted it to happen. Okay,
Mr. Veteran, don't get tied up in the pedantics.
Well, okay, great. No, you see, I'm not getting tied up in the pedantics. So what you're saying is that people need to vote a specific way to get them in, right?
That is correct.
So why isn't that happening?
Because most people are fucking stupid.
Oh.
Simple as that.
How you hear it. Straight out of the billionaire's mouth.
Hold on. So most people in the United States are fucking stupid. Yeah. And that's why they keep voting in Republicans.
That may well be the case.
I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the Republican Party continuing to strip the Voter Rights Act, continuing to block legislation that makes gerrymandering illegal, and preventing people from going to the polls to vote, right?
I can mathematically, Tony, I can make a mathematical argument for how just voter suppression in the swing states decided the election. It is true. And I'm talking about MAGA nonprofits challenging the voter rolls. I can take you through a mathematical argument of how just voter suppression.
Explain to me, billionaire who thinks that, who doesn't have an opinion on this obscene transfer of wealth in the big, beautiful bill because it's not going to affect you. Explain to me how the American voter is stupid and they're not being suppressed with their vote through gerrymandering and voter suppression legislation.
Gerrymandering, listen, if you're going to talk over me just and try to silence me, go ahead. Go ahead. If you want to have a conversation,
I will.
Because one thing is,
explain to me gerrymandering.
You can't wax poetic for hours either.
Absolute sure. Don't give me this fucking childish remarks about, please explain gerrymandering. Because gerrymandering happens in every fucking town, every county.
Hold on. Don't mute him, please. Don't mute him. Unmute yourself, Tony.
Tony gets more hysterical when muted. It's actually... When you silence people who were silenced as children, then they become more hysterical and muted. Tony, just unmute yourself. Stop acting like you can't.
I didn't mute. Someone muted me. I didn't unmute myself.
I understand.
I have been a Democrat. I have been a Democrat supporter for the last 30 years.
Democratic, for the love of God, it's democratic.
Don't give me this nonsense. Okay,
Was
I've been
not
a Democrat.
my question
Don't
at all.
give me this about.
Literally didn't ask. Literally
I have,
did
when I
not
made a
ask
comment
about
about
your
most people-
political affiliation at all, so I don't understand how that has any relevance to what I asked you, Tony.
You didn't ask me anything.
Restate the question. Yeah, just state the question again.
I literally did. You said that the American voter is too stupid. And I said, is it that they're stupid or that there has been a concerted effort by the conservative right in this country to make it harder to vote, and Republicans overwhelmingly, I'm not saying Democrats don't do it, but Republicans have got it down to a fucking art that they draw their districts to pick their voters and not the voters picking their representatives. Explain to me how that isn't the problem that's preventing the United States of America from moving into a single payer healthcare system.
No, we had the opportunity to move into a single-payer healthcare system many years ago, and we still didn't take it. When it was originally proposed under the Obama administration, and we got it passed with a compromise.
What happened, Tony?
And what happened, Tony?
I am fully aware of what happened.
No,
well,
you're
say
not,
no. Then
because
you
you're
repeat
still
it. Demonstrate proficiency. What happened when that bill got to Congress, Tony? And I know you know what happened to the Affordable Care Act.
Kennedy passed away with a brain tumor. They then had to put a Republican in, and we couldn't get the full vote that we needed, and therefore a compromise had to happen. And the compromise part that we had meant that the insurance companies then got compensation as private entities.
Right.
Well, whether or not you want to call it whether or not you want to call it
and
lobbies,
chopped that bill up.
When was the next time that we had the ability to completely redo it? We had the ability to do this several times. We just haven't looked at it. We haven't done anything about it because there is a great compromise.
Since the Obama administration, when has the Senate been a supermajority Democrat run?
It hasn't been a supermajority.
Oh, okay. So then how could Democrats force it through then?
I never said force it through.
Did he not say force it through? Why wouldn't they just force it through when they had the chance?
We have had every opportunity to have open and frank discussions about how bad the healthcare service is in this country.
Those conversations still happen, Tony.
Because they
Tony,
don't
those
happen.
conversations happen in Congress right now.
Do you remember John McCain putting his big fucking thumb down and saying, not on my
to
watch?
kill the Affordable Care Act entirely?
Yes. Right. I remember. Yes, we all do. Do you remember when John fucking Roberts actually turned around and he saved the Affordable Care Act when he went against the Republicans and said, no, I'm not doing this? We have had this public conversation many fucking times, and yet nobody runs with it. Okay, so you can sit there on your high horse and say that nothing can be done, but it can be. Hold on,
Tony. What do you mean nobody runs with it?
We have had.
What do you mean nobody runs with it? The Democrat Party has been actively pushing for Medicare for all for years,
senators in the Republican Party support it, but yet we still don't put it as a national fucking issue. So you can argue about the Republicans as much as you want, because you're not doing anything about it.
Hey, Tony, don't have a heart attack on my live, okay? All right, Chef Boyardee, don't have a heart attack on my live, okay?
It is.
Here's what I want to know, because Tony, when you first
Stop
came up
blaming
here,
the Republicans for it.
When you
are you serious, Tony?
Hold on, Tony, why the fuck would I not blame the Republicans, Tony?
Can we hold on? Let me just reset. Okay, everyone, let's go to our corners for a second. Everyone get a 5-second spritz of water in their mouth and take a deep breath before. Seriously, Tony, you're nearing a brain aneurysm.
Yeah,
and
Tony,
anyways, I need you to find me when I'm disappeared. So just don't die. Tony, I think you do know who's opposing universal health care in this country. But this is my point, and this is what I'll say. What I cannot stand is when you start referencing like, oh, it's universal health care, it's everyone denying it. I'll say, the best I'll give you is there are some centrist Democrats who have been bought by lobbyists who maybe are staving off universal health care. But this is what I know. It absolutely is the case because I've always followed the money, and I know for a fact that's the case.
The issue.
But wait, let me just finish let me land my plane. Where I was going with this is, but in countries like Spain, like England, where you're a dual citizen, like Italy, where Mussolini's granddaughter is quite literally running the country, and it's the rise of the fascist right, take two. All of those people, I don't care if you're the farthest right fascist or the farthest left communist, you can go to the doctor for free. So when you are saying who in fact is opposing universal health care in this country, I think that it is who, Tony? Corporations and people that through privatized profit benefit from privatized health care. Can you agree with that statement?
Well, yes, of course I can agree with that statement.
And then the misinformation, like I'll agree with you that
hang on,
wait, let me just finish to say, like, and what I think is happening, which is coming from the Republican Party, there was a ton of misinformation and disinformation being spread, right, about healthcare and universal healthcare in this country to make people think for some reason they don't either deserve it or it's not fiscally sound.
Well, I won't go on to whether or not we deserve it or not, because I just believe that's an issue that everybody should have taken care of. There's no doubt about that.
Do you believe healthcare is a human right?
Yeah, absolutely, I do.
Thank you. Okay.
So the as to whether we can afford it, that's a more complex issue.
Why?
It's not.
Well, hang on a second. I've gone through this issue many times before. I'm very closely associated with obviously pharmaceutical companies because the food company
is profiting from them.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Well, it's more to the point that the food company,
pharmaceutical company's opinion on universal health care, please.
Well, this is the difference. This is what I'm saying, is that, for example, St. Jude Medical. Mm-hmm. St. Jude Medical would come up with or developed pacemaker systems that we would have. Mm-hmm. The pacemaker systems that we would sell in the United Kingdom for approximately $12,000 a pacemaker. Okay. So that was the standard amount that we would pay. So that was a contract that the British government had with St. Jude. Here in the United States, we would sell those to a hospital, and the hospital would say to us, well, we're not going to pay you $12,000. We only want to give you $6,000 for it. So they would then buy it from us for $6,000 on a contract. They would then charge the hospital $12,000, and the hospital would charge the insurance company $22,000. So because of the way that the system worked, our product, which was half the price here in the US, we were making double the amount of money in a socialized medical system. But because of the way the medical system is ratcheted up in the United States with one after the other level of profitability, the end up price to the consumer becomes much greater.
Okay, thank you, Tony. You'll never land your plane if I don't interrupt you. Can I just explain to everyone what this capitalist billionaire just described? What Tony is saying is because of the unnecessary middlemen that have also been created, like the insurance companies and like another example is the pharmaceutical managers, right, who get these kickbacks. There's these different sort of silos, verticals, capitalistic verticals that are unnecessary in the American healthcare system. Then he, as a capitalist billionaire, is making less profit, and that's super annoying to him. That has nothing to do with whether or not it is fiscally responsible and or possible for us to have universal health care. This is a capitalist being like, because of the insurance industry, because of people like pharmaceutical managers, my profit is being eaten into. Whereas in the UK, because they have legislation to cut all of those people out of these deals, he is still able to make a bigger profit. That's what he's saying. But I agree that we need to cut all of these unnecessary capitalistic industries out.
So
but just say that, Tony. Stop.
You've got to understand the way the system works before you can say it, because the reality is that is what we would all call a win-win.
This doesn't have
My company
any
wins,
bearing on can this
everybody else
country
wins.
afford universal health care.
Yeah,
Well,
that was the conversation, Tony. And then you're like, let me talk to you about how I, as a billionaire, make money.
Yeah,
Right.
like
So
nobody
the
gives a fuck
reality,
about how
the
much money
reality
you make
is,
selling
in order to make the margins that are needed to make throughout different industries, the prices are obviously exaggerated here, and that goes down to the way the entire corporations are funded and profitabilities. Because I've said this time and
we
time
get
again.
it. Capitalism is bad. We understand. Explain to me
Capitalism-
how. Explain to me how the United States of America cannot afford universal health care.
I just explained it because we
No,
have
you
so
explained to me
many
why you would lose
levels.
money on pacemakers. That's what you
If
explained to me.
if I can't afford to make the pacemaker,
Who funded a lot of the
You
research
don't make
for
Please
pacemakers?
stop. Oh my
oh,
God,
I don't make
can't.
I don't make pacemakers.
No, Tony, who funded a lot of the research for pacemakers?
U.S. government.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's
Yes.
what we do.
Yes, Tony. Yes, Tony.
Well,
As a matter
then
of fact, the NIH had billions
You're welcome.
of dollars in
Then we
medical
sell
research
those
grants.
patents to pharmaceutical industries.
Right.
Yeah.
So this idea that like, oh no, fucking medical research would stop because insurance companies can't make money is fucking stupid, Tony. That's stupid.
Let me ask you a question, Tony. I understood what you said. It was a lot of, as you say in the UK, blathering, but I agree with you. We need to cut out a lot of fake and pointless capitalistic industries and middlemen in the US healthcare industry, right? I agree, which we can easily do. I mean, we could if people understood how the healthcare industry was working, but that's
If
we have
unfettered
had,
capitalism
and that
didn't
goes
turn
back-
healthcare into a
and
for-profit industry.
That goes back to exactly what I said before.
no.
Yes,
We
that
have
repeat it
pacemakers would be
slowly.
more. You
Administration
would not make as much.
administration to change the way this works, and yet we still don't do it. And
Why?
that has been the Democrats
Right.
and the
No.
Republicans.
No.
Yes, it has.
It hasn't.
Crying out
It hasn't.
loud.
It hasn't. The Affordable Care Act had a provision in it that was going to put us into a single payer system that would have given people health care. And the corporate medical industry lobbied for that to go away.
When did it come in? It was 2008. It's
Yep.
almost 20 fucking years old. And if you are telling me that over the last 20 years that both Democrats and Republicans have sat back
Tony,
and
you
tried
are
to do
absolutely
this,
100%
then you
just explaining how you do not understand how this process works.
I absolutely know how it works. I'm
No,
part
you
of
don't.
the process.
Because
Well,
you're
actually,
saying that-
I do think he does, and I think he's disingenuously
Just being purposefully
obfuscating.
disingenuous?
Like, it's even worse, Tony, than the truth. I think you do get it, and you're obfuscating
being an ass?
and being an yeah. That's actually
Okay.
what I think is closer
that
to. I think he
tracks.
does get it.
That tracks. You probably do understand. You're just being intellectually dishonest to 645 people right now. Okay? I'll give you that. You probably do understand how it works.
I promise you,
You're
he
just
does.
being intellectually dishonest to everybody sitting in this chat right now.
No.
Okay.
No.
No, I mean, hey, and Tony,
when-
you know what? Hey, if I was a billionaire that didn't have to worry about any of this shit either, then yeah, I'd probably be doing the same shit. I probably wouldn't care either.
If you were desperate for healthcare, Tony,
You're
it would
gonna be
matter a
fine.
little more, I think. Like
you're gonna be
that's
fine.
the reality. If
You know?
you were desperate for
Yeah.
healthcare,
None
if
of
you were
this shit.
desperate for change, everything you're describing, let me tell you about how I make all this money and my percentage
Yeah.
profit off pacemakers. Do you understand that people can't go to the doctor when they need basic antibiotics? Like and how that's a slap in the face for people
Yeah.
that have to listen to you?
Yeah.
No
It
one
costs-
cares.
But Tony,
It cost me
but-
How
$4
most
million
people, did
for
you
my
say
daughter
most
to
people
treat
can't, or did you say
cancer.
some
Yes.
people can't?
No, most people in the United States, not some people, most people. Most
You're saying
people
most
in the
people cannot go
most
to-
people
most
in the
people
United
cannot
States of
go to
America
the
do
doctors.
not have the financial means to go and get the necessary medication that they need to.
I don't believe that.
benefit. I don't care what you believe, Tony. That's
Well,
the
show me.
facts.
Just
That's
give
the
me. Show me
statistic.
those facts. Then.
What?
Show me how
Uninsured
most
people in the
people
United
cannot-
States?
Or you say most uninsured? You're saying uninsured people.
Yeah,
what you
uninsured
said?
people in the United States. You want data on
But
that?
most people are not uninsured.
Okay, but Tony, you do understand that insurance works differently for every single person.
Yeah,
right?
and that's ridiculous.
Just because you have insurance doesn't mean that you're going to be able to afford to go and get what you need done. You do understand that, right?
No,
You-
he
you-
doesn't understand that. I promise you he doesn't. Tony, when I worked in the tech industry before I rose in the ranks and became, a rainmaker when I was making 6+ figures, and then they're like, oh, here's the medical insurance for people we want to keep alive. My first tier of medical insurance, I was basically paying if I needed a prescription, I was paying 100%. Like you're so far removed from reality, right? Or if I needed to see a specialty doctor, or let's say if I had to go to the ER, I was responsible for $2,000 cash out of pocket in the ER before they would cover anything. I don't think when you say insurance, you're acting like that means something.
Yeah.
Insurance in America covers nothing.
It doesn't cover anything. See, that's what I'm saying, Tony. You have a fundamental misunderstanding of what being insured in the United States of America means.
I actually do not. I understand it very well. I
No,
understand.
you don't, Tony, because
Well,
you
hang on.
just
Before
said
you
that the
say I don't,
majority of people.
before
You
you
don't.
say I don't, how about you listen to me instead of
Demonstrate
telling me what the fuck I do
understanding.
know?
Demonstrate understanding.
Why would I? What? Let me.
If
just
I
explain
can
it.
demonstrate understanding if you shut your mouth.
What?
I understand that people buy. I understand. What? Let's have a look. First of all, we've got Medicaid, and Medicaid is basically defined for those people who are basically get 130% below the poverty line, which basically means they get everything taken care of. And one of the arguments I have
Fantastic.
had because
Great.
do you just want to let me talk, or you just want to fucking tell me?
No, I
because
kinda just
my
wanna tell
fucking
you,
position blows way you.
No, I
So,
kinda
you're
just
telling me
wanna
I
tell
don't
you.
understand. So I will tell
But
you
you
that
see-
Medicaid
but-
covers
no, okay,
130%,
I'm glad that you brought up
which
Medicaid,
means
though.
there are no fucking co-pays for
I'm
poor
glad-
people.
I'm glad you brought up Medicaid,
There are
though,
no
Tony,
co-pays.
because let's go back
and
to
I
the
also
big,
know
beautiful
that
bill.
many states don't give their Medicaid to people, and I understand that there are
Which
many.
states?
I understand that there are many states like Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, Mississippi, West Virginia who have refused
There's
to
a lot of
sign on for
Republican-run
expanded
states.
Medicaid. I understand all of that. And then we've got the Affordable Care Act. I also understand that Trump tried to reduce the ability to get onto the Affordable
No,
Care
Trump
Act.
tried
And the
to
sponsorship.
Trump
Hang on a
tried to
second. Don't
overturn
overtalk me.
the
If
law.
you want a conversation,
He didn't try
don't
to
fucking
reduce
keep on
your
telling me what
ability.
you
Tony,
think I know.
Donald Trump did not
Okay?
try to reduce the ability of people to get onto the Affordable Care Act. He tried to repeal the law entirely.
I understand that. Did you not fucking
okay.
understand what I said when I
No,
said
what you
about
said
John
was that
McCain?
Donald Trump tried to
I
reduce
said
people's
that- okay,
ability to
let's
get
put it into
onto the
perspective.
Affordable Care Act.
He has reduced the enrollment fucking time period. Did you not understand, or did that go through your thick skull and bounce off the fucking wall of
You're
concrete?
so angry, Tony. Chill out, bro.
Oh, yeah, I can get more fucking angry than you. So when I say something, don't fucking cut
You
it to
win.
pieces.
We win,
Because-
Tony. You're the angriest.
Fantastic, Tony.
So, so what else would you like me to
I'm
tell
not
you
talking
about
about
the
the
fucking
people that
bronze
are.
and the silver and the gold
yeah.
plans? Would
Hey,
you like to tell me about the fucking deductibles that
Great.
people have to go through, whether or not they have a
Sure.
$5,000 deductible, a $10,000
Sure.
deductible, a
And how many
$20,000.
people
I fucking
can afford
understand
their
the differences
deductibles,
between
Tony?
that.
How many people can?
I
How much does it cost to get an
understand
ambulance
those-
in the United
that
States,
is
Tony?
not the
How much
fucking
does it
point.
cost to go? How much does it cost to go see your primary care manager, Tony?
For me, it doesn't
I'm
cost
not
anything.
asking for you, Tony. You're a billionaire. I don't give a fuck.
For
what
a
it
lot of
costs you.
people, it costs more than they can afford.
Oh,
I
okay.
understand
So
that.
those people,
They will pay
so
depending
those
on their
people
policy
have
that they have.
insurance. Hold on, Tony. So those people that have insurance aren't able to go to their primary care manager because, according to you, it will cost more than they can afford.
No, it depends on
You
what
just
policy
said
they
that,
have.
Tony. You literally just said that.
What is the number one type of bankruptcy in the United States?
Well, actually, it's no longer medical. 'cause
Tony,
medical
answer
is
the question. You know the answer. Just answer it.
I actually don't know. To be quite
It's
honest.
medical
I mean,
bankruptcy.
It used to be medical
Tony,
bankruptcy,
for
but they
people who
changed the
weren't,
law.
who
Hang
did
on,
not
they changed-
inherit
Felice, they
billions of
changed-
dollars.
They changed
No,
the
they
law
did.
on that. You can
Oh,
no
and
longer
Trump
be
is
made
undoing that.
bankrupt.
No, I know what you're talking about.
You cannot be made bankrupt for medical bills right now.
No,
So
that
you
was
can't
what Joe
use that.
Biden.
You can
Hold
say-
on. Can I correct you?
No,
Can I correct
Tony,
you?
you're wrong.
Can I correct
You're
you?
wrong.
You're
You're
wrong.
wrong, Tony.
That's not true.
What-
Joe
what was-
Biden
what-
tried to do that. Joe Biden tried to cancel out medical debt from credit scores
Yep.
and say you cannot be punished for this, and that has now been undone.
Yeah.
You're
When was
wrong.
that?
And again, and I
what
just
you
want to
were-
say
what you
something.
were thinking about,
Medical
Tony,
debt
wasn't-
is the number one type. Medical bankruptcy is the number one type of bankruptcy. Everyone in America, the average person, not you, I know not you, Tony, is one illness away from bankruptcy. It happened to me 5 years ago. That's a fact.
Tony, what you're thinking about was the Biden administration's attempt to make medical debt not be able to be reported to the credit bureaus.
That's
What
correct.
you were trying to figure out.
Right,
It didn't
okay.
say that you couldn't file bankruptcy for medical debt or that wasn't a thing. It was that type of debt could not be reported on your credit report. Those are two different things. You figured you know that if you're a billionaire, Tony. So
You pay off my debt, my medical debt, Tony. I'd appreciate it if you just look into that and just take
What
care
else?
of it.
What else is it that you want to talk about?
No, I just you brought up
But you're not talking
Medicaid when
about-
you
you're
talked
not
about
talking
you brought up
about anything
Medicaid.
right
Hold on. What else do I want to talk about? You brought up Medicaid. I'd love to talk about the $800 billion in Medicaid cuts that are in the big beautiful bill. So
Right. What
how's
about-
that? How is that moving us towards a single payer healthcare system?
Yeah, well, it's not, is it? But so
Oh,
what about?
great.
What about?
So who's-
the,
but
what
wait,
about
but wait,
the
Tony,
$800
who-
billion
hold on, Tony,
cuts?
hold
What
on, Tony.
about them?
Who-
Tell me about them.
Tell you about the
So-
$780 billion
as far as I-
taken
so as
from
far as I-
Medicare to give
so as
trillions
far
of
as
dollars
I
of
know-
duds.
You're just talking over me every fucking time I talk.
You asked me a question, you dunce.
No, what about
You said, tell
them?
me about the cuts.
Yeah,
I was
tell me
trying
about
and you
them.
wouldn't shut
Tell
the fuck
me
up.
about who the cuts are going to be against. Is
We're gonna have
part
this
of it is
conversation
about
till someone has a
unlawful
stroke.
immigrants
It's
that
not going to be
come in.
me. I'm used to this shit.
So part of it is about unlawful documents. It's exactly like the California governor said, Newsom, we are no longer going to cover undocumented workers here. Pennsylvania has said the same thing. New York has
Can
said
we
the
talk?
same
Wait,
thing.
can I speak to this? Because I just read I just read a statistical analysis on this. Tony, you're wrong. Actually, what's going on, since Tony is now either doesn't know or is making shit up, is that Trump is disproportionately penalizing the 14 states. There are 14 states that it has nothing to do with tax, like it has nothing to do with federal tax dollars, Medicaid expansion that comes from the federal government. But there are 14 states that through their own tax dollars, these are revenue positive states, the same ones that pay red states to still continue, to survive. Like they pay more into federal tax dollars. They use their own revenue, like California, let's say the fourth largest economy in the world. They use their own state tax dollars, right,
Yes,
to
they do.
fund undocumented immigrants having medical care. And let me just give an
Money
example.
is fungible,
Wait, can I
Felice.
finish?
It's just like in Pennsylvania.
Okay, please. Oh, now you're doing some sort of weird crypto argument. Hold on, I'm not done. Now he's doing a weird crypto argument.
You're gonna get mad at me.
Don't do
for backing
fungible.
over you.
We're not. Can I just finish explaining what Tony thought nobody up here knew about? So what is now happening is if you're one of these 14 states, and let me give you the example. I'm a born and raised Phoenician, which we've actually technically the state went for Trump, so I don't think he necessarily wants to penalize us, but we realize this same thing in auto insurance because of our proximity to the Mexico border. Like auto theft, also just auto accidents. If we don't provide some type of insurance or some type of fund for undocumented immigrants who are driving cars in our state, we still pay for it anyways, right? Either we can find a way to insure it or to use like a public fund to offset these costs, or we're all just responsible for it anyways. And it's the same thing. Like, this is the reality. There are certain states who say, hey, we're going to use some state tax dollars because we have a surplus to fund undocumented immigrants and give them what, right? There's a difference. There's emergent healthcare, and then there's preventative healthcare. If we do screenings, right? If we give physicals year over year, if we give the tests we know people need so that they don't show up in the GD emergency room in stage 4 liver cancer, that is how we save money. And I want people to understand this because it's a fundamental misunderstanding in America. If you say, I want 0 of my tax dollars to go towards undocumented immigrants, when they show up in the emergency room, that's still your tax dollars. That's the highest ticket item. That's the most we'll ever pay for undocumented immigrants needing medical care. And we're still paying it anyways.
Right. And a lot of the people that, according to, individual economists and everybody looking at the big, beautiful bill that are going to lose their health insurance over the next 10 years is because of the Republicans' insistence on this work requirement, right? For people to be on Medicaid, this work requirement. You have to report employment. Let me ask you this, Tony. Has there been any state level legislation that has required work requirements before they can be put onto government assistant healthcare before? Do we have any, point of reference for this? Tony, are you there? Tony, did you have an aneurysm? Is that why you're not talking?
I think we unaligned him. Tony, wake up. It's okay. Oh my God. He's okay. He's alive.
Okay,
it's okay.
there.
I was
Tony,
like,
sorry,
oh my
I
God. I
actually
spoke
believe it
him
or
into,
not,
I
was
spoke
actually
the
my
stroke.
pharmacist
Now
calling.
he needs
Fantastic,
emergent
Tony.
care.
Great.
Yeah, that
Tony,
was my pharmacist calling, telling him that my
to
blood pressure
calm the fuck
medication
down,
was being filled.
because you're a billionaire.
Oh,
fucking-
it makes
you're on
sense
blood
you have
pressure
high
medication.
blood-
You should
no,
probably
see?
not be on TikTok, Tony, if this is how you're going to act if you're on blood pressure medication. Hey, Tony, real
What?
quick, has there been any statewide legislation that has gone into effect that required work requirements before people could get on government assistance?
Has there been?
Yeah.
Hang on, you mean has there been?
Yeah. Are there any states in the United States of America that have put work requirements on Medicaid enrollment?
Right now, I don't know. I mean, I know
Right
that
now,
my old.
yes,
I
there
know-
has been. Arkansas tried it. Tried it, and it was this idea
Hang on
that
a
if
second.
you
Can you let me talk? You just asked me a question.
no,
and
you
cut me
said
off.
you didn't know.
I didn't.
Tony?
I said, and I followed it up. I said, I don't know as of right this moment, but
Right.
what I do know is that my old state of Virginia, in order to get Virginia Medicaid, you used to have to work or you used to have to do a training program.
Okay,
And that
Tony.
recently changed after
Tony,
the Democrats
great, fantastic,
won the
Tony.
Virginia
Okay,
Congress.
Great, Tony.
So yes, Virginia was one of them. So I'm telling you, there were states that actually used to have it. So
No,
making
are there
an
any
18
right
to
now,
30-year-old,
Tony?
I don't know
Okay,
whether there are
great.
any
That
right
was my
now.
question, dipshit. Yes,
I
there
am not
are.
a fucking
Arkansas-
dipshit, Mr. fucking
Arkansas,
veteran.
Why are you getting so upset? Arkansas has.
Because
a
I'll tell you
work-
one thing.
Oh,
Just fucking run your
Tony,
live and
Tony,
stop.
Tony. Okay, great. I'm trying to run my live. Shut the fuck up. Arkansas has a work requirement on their Medicaid enrollment for their state. And the argument was that people that are on Medicaid that aren't working would need to go and get employment before they could get on it. And do you know what happened in Arkansas when that went on? Do you think, let me ask it like this. And it's a very simple question. I don't want an hour-long monologue from you about profitability of pacemakers. Okay. Do you think that when that law went into effect in Arkansas, that more people went and got jobs, that it stayed the same, or that less people were employed? That's my question. Let's try to stay on topic there. I know you know how to unmute, Tony. You seem like you're probably punching a hole through your phone right now trying to do it, but simple taps. Simple taps. It's okay. You're gonna be all right.
We're gonna all make it through this together. Everyone breathe.
In case there we go. Okay. Did you catch the question, Tony?
The question about Arkansas, whether I would imagine it probably stayed the same, to be quite honest.
It stayed the same? Yeah. There was a flattening of employment, right?
I understand.
So hold on. So this work requirement to get on Medicaid didn't actually improve the employment levels in the state. But more people
employment. I agree.
But more people were not able to get the health care coverage that they needed because they weren't able to go and work.
Can I give some actual facts around this? Because you know me and math. I do like to do statistical analysis. So Arkansas Medicaid work requirements, able-bodied adults 19 to 49 without dependents or disabilities were required to work, train, or volunteer 80 hours a month. So what happened? Total disenrollments, 18,000 plus of the target group lost coverage in 6 months. Primary reason for loss, 65% failed to report hours. Only 5% were denied for not meeting work requirements. Black beneficiaries were 50% more likely to lose coverage than white beneficiaries. Interesting in Arkansas. No significant increase in employment. That's the point. It did not make more people work in Arkansas. Employment rates for affected adults remained flat pre and post policy.
Mm-hmm. And that's what Republicans continue to push. That's one of the big things in this big, beautiful bill with Medicaid is this work requirement that they're enforcing. Now, what do you know the three largest groups of people that are on Medicare or Medicaid? Excuse me. Tony,
billionaires.
The three largest groups that are on Medicaid.
Yeah,
I would imagine that they are disabled people, mm-hmm. that they are elderly people. Well, not elderly because they would be on Medicare, but probably
seniors. Seniors are on Medicaid. Yeah,
right.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what the third one would be.
Children.
Kids. 40% of births in the United States are because of Medicaid. That's how babies are born.
Right now, so you're including as it is right now, 34%.
Can I at least fucking say something?
I'm giving you a number, Tony.
So I take it you are including CHIP as part of the Medicaid expansion. Because I know CHIP is a different program. So when you're talking about children under the age of 18, CHIP will be a different program to the Medicaid. So I'm talking about Medicaid for adults over the age of 18.
No. Most people on Medicaid.
Right, which is 18 plus.
Oh.
Okay. See, I feel like we're understanding some things here, Tony. And that is that you don't understand things. So cool. I mean, this is good. This is good. I feel like we're getting a very good understanding of the billionaires' understanding of how us regular poors are going about our lives.
Okay, well, how about you regular poors shut your mouth once in a fucking while? Because Medicaid and CHIP are two different.
Shut your mouth once in a fucking while.
Because Medicaid and CHIP are two different programs. If you are a
program program under Medicaid, right?
If you are a family
CHIP
of
is a
four,
program under Medicaid, right?
It's an expansion program under
it is
Medicaid.
that's
Under
right.
Medicaid.
That's
Through the
right.
agriculture,
it is an expansion
yeah.
program.
I mean,
right.
Will
Under
you
Medicaid.
shut up.
Under Medicaid, Tony.
The question
So there are
is,
children that are insured under Medicaid.
why don't you shut your fucking mouth once in a while?
Because I
you
like
might get
getting
further in
your
fucking
heart
life
rate up,
if
Tony.
you listen once in a
Because
while.
I like seeing your blood pressure spike, Tony.
My blood
That's why.
pressure isn't spiking. Don't
You
worry.
you are red faced right now. I can
No,
see it through your profile picture.
No.
Or is that just
What do
ravioli
you
sauce on your mouth?
What do you not understand when I say, are we talking about people over the age of 18?
I'm talking
Make
about
the
people.
separation
I'm talking about
between-
people
we are
insured under Medicaid programs.
No, because we were
Yes.
talking about work requirements. You
Right,
fucking
I
imbecile.
was. Yes,
So if
I
we're talking
was.
about work requirements, then we're obviously not talking about children under the age of 18.
Why?
Do you not understand the
Tony?
separation, or are you too much of a thickhead?
No, Tony, you cannot exclude children when you have states.
If you are talking about work
you cannot
requirements,
exclude
you are
children when you
excluding
have
children
states that
because
are
it is
removing
mandatory that the children
child
go to school,
labor
so they are
protections,
not
Tony.
part of it.
Tony, you cannot exclude children from this when you have states that are removing child labor protections.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, I just looked it up. So let me just clarify. I want to just make hold on, let me scroll up and make sure I get this right before I say it. So under CHIP, I just looked it up. So there's 4.6 million children are enrolled in the Children's Health Insurance Program. That's as of 2023, right? But the number of births and children under Medicaid is much higher than that, right? So you're talking about, you believe that all the children are enrolled under CHIP, but that's only,
Felice,
as of 2023, it's
if you'd
4.6
let me
million children.
explain it
Total U.S. children covered by Medicaid, 40.2 million. So you can
Felice,
attract
tonight, at
4.6 million from 40.2, and that's the rest of the children that are covered under Medicaid.
Felice, that is not the way it works. The way it works
That is the way it works.
That is the way it
Felice,
works.
No, can you just let me tell you the way it works, and then you can fucking
Yes.
argue afterwards?
Yes.
The
Yes.
way it works,
Okay,
Billionaire
Italian
child.
Santa, tell me.
Go ahead, British
a
billionaire. tell me
child
about
will
it.
be covered on their parent's Medicaid application. So when you have a parent who is already under the
I agree.
130% level, they will make the application for the Medicaid for the mother, the father, or the mother and the children.
Okay.
If the person is working, if the person's family income is under 130% of the poverty line, the children are already covered on that under the Medicaid application. Once their income starts to go above the poverty line, the children are no longer eligible, and the children will go on to CHIP, which covers 100%.
Wait a minute.
After
So-
the parents start earning slightly more, they
Great.
have what is called
Thank you
CHIP
for
Advantage
proving-
programs.
Thank you for
So the
literally
point
telling me what I
but at
just
no
said, Tony.
Point, at
Thank
no
you for
point
telling me what
has
I
any
just said.
child
Literally what I just said. 30% of the people that are on Medicaid right now are kids. That's what I just said. And I'm sure Donald Trump has said nothing about trying to get rid of the CHIP program entirely, right?
And I looked up like you're saying, once you get 100 whatever percent above the poverty, and you graduate off Medicaid, then the CHIP program clicks in. And I looked up the number, and it's 4.2 million. That's what I was doing. I was trying to help you.
But you're right, Tony. That
I'm more concerned about births too. Like women are
Right.
being forced to give birth. 40%
Yeah.
of births in this country, and that's the low end that I can find, are covered by Medicaid. Don't tell me I have to get pregnant, that I'm forced to be an incubator, and then we're not going to help me after. 138% of infants 0 to 1, 138% of the federal poverty level, children 1 to 18 up to 133% of the federal poverty level. Yeah. Chip expansion. Many states cover kids and families earn up to 300% of the federal poverty level. So up to $90,000 a year for a family of 4, which no one can survive under. Like, what?
Can I ask a
You're acting like they're
different,
rich.
I just kind of want to get an idea for the mentality of Tony here. Hey, Tony, why do you have a video on your page referring to Kamala Harris as the camel? I would like to know that. Before I kick you out, because I don't do blatant racism, but and you'll never be allowed back up here, Tony, because I don't do that shit. But you want to explain that real quick, Tony? You want to explain that of Donald? Tony, you there? You there? I'm just curious. You want to explain that? Explain that one? Tony?
Sorry, I had a phone call.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. You want to explain why you have a video on your page referring to Kamala Harris as the camel?
Because I like winding people.
Cool.
What does that mean? I honestly don't even know. I was like Googling it to figure it out.
So racist white people like to call her I'm not even going to say it. It's
okay. Don't tell me. Maybe it's
I'll text it to you.
Yeah,
I don't even want to say it
because I honestly don't know.
But it's 100% a just white people being fucking racist. Can a mod block Tony, please? Because I don't fuck with that shit.
I have him blocked.
Yeah,
you only found me because of you.
Block Tony, please. Because no, we don't fuck with that shit. So. And just real quick, because I know that there's been a lot of discourse lately on TikTok live panels about like, are we need to come to the middle ground with people, and we got to meet people where they're at. No, I don't fuck with that. All right, if you're gonna be blatantly racist, and you notice that his response was because I like to get people riled up. No, okay, then fuck off, Tony. Like, no, absolutely not. We're not doing that shit. I'm not platforming racists, and as soon as I found that out, you're gone. So fuck off. Adios. We're out. You don't get to come up and just continue to be a part of this live because you're a fucking racist piece of shit. So bye, Tony.
Or like even worse, like a recreational, what I'm saying? Like, it's almost even worse. This isn't like some ideology, you believe it. It's like recreational because I like to upset
racism?
people. Yeah, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what isn't that what he said right before you kicked him?
Yeah,
like,
because I like to get people riled up.
Upsetting people cool. is a hobby of mine. Yeah, that's
right, cool.
The boredom of having so much money.
Yeah, I don't fuck with that shit. So bye. Anyway, what else were we did you see that Donald Trump pardoned a tax fraudster after his mom attended a
which one? Which I could go over. Oh,
this was let me see here. Paul Walczak's he's a tax cheat.
Spell it so I can look it up.
Walczaks or ZAK.
I'm sure it'll come up. Yeah.
Paul Walczak.
Oh, 2 hours ago. So this was recent.
Yeah, this is like new. So like she attended $1 million dinner, and in the application for the pardon, it cites her raising $1 million for Donald Trump. So I guess you can just pay for pardons now.
Oh, I mean, now, what do you mean? You could since 2016. Yeah, you can pay for pardons. Yeah. And this is what I always talk about, like what we all need to decide, and why I do think for Tony to just be like, hey, no matter what happens, like none of this affects me. I think that's mathematically true. But for MAGA, right, the average person who had to vote for Donald Trump to be elected, you are voting to be in a classist society, right? If you have the money, you can commit any crime you want. And you tell me what's a bigger crime, unaliving one person during a home invasion, or being mathematically unaliving people through insurance denials. Like, you're basically saying that as long as you have the money to pay for a pardon, you are not a criminal. As long as you can bribe Donald Trump, you can get away with anything you want. We are reordering society to say the people who are valuable in this society have money. And MAGA, I know for some reason you believe deep down in your hearts that he's going to save you or he cares about you. He does not. Unless you have $1 million for a pardon.
Yeah.
He does not give an F about you. He just had that crypto dinner. When was that? Last Thursday? Where whoever bribed him the most, Lamar Odom was there.
I saw that. Yeah.
Can we just all give up?
Did you see the dinner though? Like, people were posting pictures of the.
There were some videos that got out. I think they were not supposed to be taking videos, but I did see a couple.
Yeah. Oh my God. Ridiculous.
Or if you have $5 million, that's another great example. If you have $5 million, you can be a citizen of the United States. Doesn't matter how corrupt you are, how many crimes you've committed, as long as you can bribe. And does that money go to the U.S. government? Not as far as I know. I think it just goes to the Trump family. You just bribe him through crypto, and then you can have anything you want. I don't want to live in a society where you're only a criminal if you're not too poor to bribe your way out.
Yep. Let me see here. There was also something that I just on May 1st, so the beginning of the month, Lindsey Graham said he had the commitment of 72 colleagues for a bill that would enact bone-crushing sanctions on Russia. That's hilarious because Donald Trump eased the sanctions on Russia when he came into office. According to Graham, he's spearheading a draft bill, so it hasn't even been introduced yet, that would seek to impose a 500% tariff on imports from countries that buy Russian oil and fossil fuels. Why would MAGA all of a sudden be against Russia? What's that all about? What's going on? I thought Russia was the good guys here. MAGA, why is?
I could talk about this for hours. Like, are you kidding me? What is the way? I think I took a screenshot of Trump's weird post. Like, what the? Where is this post? Hold on. Have you guys seen him? Like, I can't with Trump and Putin. Why doesn't Trump do anything? I mean, what day are we on now? 100 and whatever. What was this post that I just saw?
That's what it feels
Sorry,
like.
I have to refresh his.
We're on day 1,000 right now.
Yeah, I thought the war was ending on day one. Now Trump's like, oh, I guess it's harder than I thought it was to negotiate the end of a war.
Day one also. That's
did you see? And when Charlie Kirk was being ran over by that Oxford professor, that's one of the things. And Charlie Kirk's like, oh no, I agree. I think Putin's stalling. Oh my God. He posted, and I haven't even seen this one. What Vladimir Putin, this is 2 hours ago. What Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it weren't for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia. And I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. You have bent over back, like, and I'll say the most reliable one, but there's more than one KGB agents who have defected to the United States and proffered information in exchange for safety here, all of which have said in different forms that Donald Trump has been cultivated as a KGB asset since the early 80s. I think if you're looking to read a book on it, I would look up Yuri Shvets, right? Yeah. That's probably the most reliable and the most interesting book I've read on it. Like, you can flail around and beg your master to stop embarrassing you publicly, but he very clearly owns you.
Yes. That's very interesting. That was 2 hours ago he said that on Temu Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh my
2
God.
hours ago. And that wasn't even the post I was talking about. I wasn't even talking about that post. I'd never seen that one. It's like we are in insane land. Do something about it then.
Yeah.
All we saw was Joe Biden stand up to a tyrant who invaded sovereign territory that he had no business in.
Yep.
Trump is bending over backwards
Yep.
for an authoritarian bigot.
Yep.
Oh, the worst thing. Oh, Melania's pics are just him. Yeah, Melania's pics is not what Putin has on Trump. Like, that's the least of it. Please.
Yeah.
It's much worse than that. Trump is owned by Russia.
Did you see her signing that executive order also? Or that law, I mean? The take it down law?
No, yeah, of course she did.
Yeah.
Donald Trump. I found it. This is the 25th. I've always had a good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy. You mean that you lied to the American people and you thought that the guy that owned you, somehow he told you, oh, I'm going to get you elected. This is what I said. Let me help you with how the former, one of the directors of the KGB operates. I love how we know factually that Russia has interfered in every election since 2016, since Trump's first election. Do you think Russia would spend millions upon millions, close to billions of dollars, getting a person elected they couldn't control and did not own? Use your brains, MAGA. I know you can use your brains on this. Who would it behoove Russia to get elected? The person they could control and owned, or the people they couldn't? Like, that's how I know MAGA's brains don't work. Mm-hmm. Russia's spending hundreds of millions of dollars to interfere in U.S. elections to get the guy that said he could control Putin elected. That doesn't make too much sense. He has gone absolutely crazy. Again, this is Trump. He is needlessly unaliving a lot of people. Oh, you don't say, weirdo. I am not just talking about soldiers. Now Trump's acknowledging that children and civilians are being unalived. That's funny, because that's been happening since the onset of this. I'm not just talking about soldiers. Missiles and drones are being shot into cities in Ukraine. Yeah, we told you that, and then you had everybody in the Russian-owned Republican right say that was misinformation and it wasn't happening. I've always said that he wants all of Ukraine, not just a piece of it. Am I in a nightmare? And maybe that's proving to be right. But if he does, it will lead to the downfall of Russia. Likewise, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. You mean just stating facts?
Yes.
Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop. This is a war that would never have been started if I were president. MAGA, now's your time to use your brains and think. If Trump had any pull, remember No New Wars? I can tell you all of the bombings that have happened while Trump's been president. Mm-hmm. No New Wars? Why did why did India attack Pakistan? Why, after Trump went on his faux social media and declared a ceasefire, did they fire missiles at each other after that?
Right.
If no new wars, you guys are fools.
Yes. They are.
You guys are embarrassing at this point.
Bombing the fuck out of Yemen. Like, literally.
Don't get me.
Y'all
I could go
when
all
Pete
in.
Hegseth gave us the minute-by-minute play breakdown of our bombing of Yemen. Y'all remember that shit? Yeah. It's because you all are fucking idiots. All of you. All of you are idiots. All of you MAGA red hat wearing fucking morons are exactly that. You are smooth-brained, fucking manipulatable nobodies who have nothing going on in your life, and I don't give a fuck. I'm so tired of mincing words with these people. I'm so tired of trying to reach across the aisle and build a bridge and whatnot. No, I'm done with that shit. I am so fucking done with it.
I found the cuck. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry. I was just reading a comment. If anyone wants to say, like, provide evidence that what I just stated or what Matt stated is not true, this is the opportunity, since we are busy arguing with people. If anyone has evidence that any of what we just said is not true, now is the time to present it. And I'm talking about data or factual evidence, data-driven evidence.
They're the idiots that still share out the
not.
memes about AOC being worth $29 million on a $174,000
The poorest
salary.
person in Congress.
And I'm like, you guys do know that you can go and look at her financial
Quarter by
disclosures.
quarter.
Yeah,
Every
quarterly.
3 months.
You can look it up. You can see it right now.
You don't look
and you
anything
can see
up,
how
Matt.
you're fucking wrong.
Someone said that AOC had millions of dollars. AOC is trying to live in New York City and Washington, D.C. on a government salary, never having taken $1 of lobbyist money, without even a cost of living adjustment.
Yeah.
Fools. Bring me up, let's debate. Okay, bring Popcorn up. He wants to tell us what he learned somewhere.
Probably gonna be some stupid fucking racist bullshit.
What's going on, son?
I
Hey, Popcorn.
don't know.
How's everybody doing?
Oh, good. So amazing. Well,
Kind of
you said
Nightmare.
What kind of liberal nonsense are y'all talking on here?
Oh, the
data-driven facts? Yeah, I know. That's
truth?
hard. It's
Facts
hard.
is something that y'all know nothing about.
Okay, cool.
Well, just tell us some facts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give
tell
us
us some
something,
facts.
then.
Just drop some knowledge on us.
Yeah, I know that Joe Biden. Oh, that car needs to get fixed. Joe Biden had was cognitive.
Get run over by a car. Did you almost just get run over by a car? Or what?
So your whole thing is that we don't know facts, and the first thing, and we were talking about the current administration and things that are happening globally right now, and your go-to is about Joe Biden.
Is the fact that you guys helped get Trump elected? Yes, because of your willful ignorance.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did you get that out of your system now?
You want to dispute that?
Are we good to move on? Are we good to move on from Joe Biden? Can
If
we
you
move
want
on
to.
from that?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So what that I said or that Felice said is not factually true.
That all these Trump supporters are racist morons, will believe any and everything Trump says, and I mean that right there is not true.
Cool. How?
How? Well, I mean, I'm a Trump supporter. You said all Trump supporters. I'm a Trump supporter. I don't believe everything he says.
Really?
when he said
Oh,
he was
that's
gonna end
good.
the war-
No, that's great news, Popcorn. I'm glad.
Like what?
I just want to say, I'm glad to hear that. Can I
What
just
is-
address the racism thing? I just want to make something really clear. Popcorn, I'll never know if you have hate in your heart. I'm not saying I'm a psychic, and Popcorn, he's got a lot of hate in his heart. He's a racist. That's not what I'm saying. I'll never know what you believe or don't believe in your heart of hearts. What I'm saying is that conservative legislation, I'm talking about math now. Statistically, we know when we run something called impact studies, which is essentially statistical analysis, it disproportionately discriminates against black and brown people, against the LGBTQIA, particularly trans people. So it's less about Popcorn himself has hate in his heart and more about statistical analysis of the legislation and who it harms.
Right. So what specifically, or what specific stat or legislation could you point to back your claim up?
Hold on one second. I'll pull up a whole list for you. Just give me 5 seconds.
Well, we can take it one by one.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know
yeah.
we will.
Hold on.
Oh, we will.
mean, we could just go with the
I mean, all of it,
continuation
but-
of the.
you don't. have
I'm
anything
going to
off
pull
the
up a
top of your head?
list, but yeah, I mean, we
No,
could.
no.
I mean,
While Felice is doing
the
that,
big
we
beautiful
could-
bill.
I mean, we could go with the fact that it's been conservatives that have been continually stripping away provisions of the Civil Rights Act or the Voting Rights Act.
Like what?
Oh, this whole list is populating. You're about to get hundreds.
Like requiring an ID?
No,
Oh yeah, no, that's part of it. Yes,
that is
yes,
part of it.
Voter ID disproportionately. Yeah. Let me just read you some of them, okay? So these are this is Republican policy. No, you asked me for a list, so now the list has populated, so you get to hear it, popcorn. Multiple Republican-led states have passed voter ID laws, reduced early voting, purged voter rolls, which disproportionately, we're talking about math now, not hate in your heart, popcorn, affected Black, Hispanic, and Native American voters. Specifically, here's the math around it. A 2017 Government Accountability Office, that's, the Inspector Generals that Trump got rid of, study found that strict voter ID laws reduced voter turnout among Black voters by 3 to 5%. A Brennan Center Justice Report 2021 found that Black and Hispanic voters were more likely than white voters to lack the required ID in states with strict laws. States like Texas and North Carolina had voter ID laws struck down for intentionally targeting minorities. Federal court rulings such as VC versus Perry and North Carolina NAACP versus McCrory. Tough on crime laws, mandatory minimums, 3-strike laws, and disparities in drug sentences have disproportionately incarcerated Black and Hispanic individuals. And I could give a whole list of those laws. I'm just going to skip to healthcare access. Republican opposition to Medicaid expansion under the Affordable Care Act disproportionately harmed minority communities. Let's go to environmental policies. Republican-led deregulation of environmental protections has often worsened pollution, specifically in minority communities. In 2017, an EPA study found that communities of color are more likely to live near polluting industries. The Trump administration's rollback of the Clean Power Plan disproportionately affected Black and Hispanic neighborhoods. Oh, education. Jim Crow revisited. Here's my favorite is education, because you must understand how education, public schools are Jim Crow.
Which Jim
laws.
Crow fell under Democrats, right?
Oh, do you
they
want
fell
me to
under
explain the party
conservatives.
switch? I love when you guys do this. Let me help
fell
you.
under
Let me help you.
conservatives.
The same people, popcorn, have been in the same place. Conservatives in the South are racists. Whether they were Dixiecrats or Republicans, the same people in the same geographical area have been discriminating against Black and brown people for hundreds of years.
So, out of all the Dixiecrats that transferred over to Republican,
Conservatives.
how many went back to Democrat?
Conservatives. Is that what you
You
meant?
know the percentage?
Is what you meant conservatives?
Well, no, we're talking party.
No. We're talking ideology now.
So
We're not talking party. We're
I
talking
can explain
ideology.
to you what you're talking about. Like, if you want to understand, can I just explain to you why conservatives in the South were Dixiecrats and then they became Republicans? Why did that happen? We can talk about LBJ, right, who was a Texan, who then forced the Civil Rights Act through. And W.E.B. Du Bois is a great person, but really it has to do with the end of slavery and worker migration, right? I mean, that's what it was, right? It was slaves from the South migrating north to take available factory jobs. I mean, that's what happened as far as the party switch. And W.E.B. Du Bois, who's a Black historian and activist who spoke about this and wrote essays on it, if you're looking for a source to understand the party switch and the migration of labor to the north, I think that would be.
So when did
what
the-
I-
Popcorn, real quick. Would you say that one of the greatest accomplishments of the Republican Party was the Emancipation Proclamation and the freeing of the slaves?
I would say it's either that or the fact that they were, it was a higher majority of Republicans that voted for the Civil Rights Act than Democrats.
Hold on. So what you're saying is that, so you're saying that there are a higher majority of Republicans. Let's just go with your logic here. So the freeing of the slaves and the Civil Rights Act, you would say, are like 1 and 2 of the Republican Party. Things that they've done.
When it comes to civil rights,
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's just go with that. So you would agree then that the Republican Party was at its best when it was its most progressive?
Well, the definition of progressive has been changed over.
No, it sure hasn't.
There's only one definition
one
of
definition of
progress.
progressive.
Progress has a very specific.
Oh, sorry, that's where you're
There's
wrong.
only one definition of progressive. I mean, you might think that progressive means.
No, I don't think I know.
Okay. What is the definition of progressive then?
So the traditional sense, it's like the term liberal is different in Europe than it is in America.
Nope.
Oh,
Yep.
words just have definitions. And
Yep. And that's because
Just out of curiosity, what is the difference in the definition of liberal in Europe and here? What is it?
well, it's like it's like Antifa, right? Right? They claim to be anti-fascist, but they're not.
Antifa?
None of that has to do with the
My
definition
guy,
of the
just
word
give
liberal.
us a definition. Stop saying it's like this. What is the definition of the words that you're saying right now? What is the definition? There you go. You can Google it if you want.
Well, no, I'm not. I just actually.
Okay,
Like
great.
when people
What
do
is the
research.
definition
It's
of
okay to look it up.
progressive?
I'll look it up.
So the definition is I'll just spew out the actual definition: willing to respect or accept behavior or opinions differ from one's own, open to new ideas, right? So open to new ideas, kind of paving the way for new stuff.
Progress
Okay,
in general.
yeah, so
Right,
People looking to progress forward.
So would you agree then that the Republican Party was at its best when it was its most progressive?
No, I would say more
okay,
conservative
cool.
than anything else. But
Cool. Okay. So you don't think that the Republican Party was at its best when it was moving towards progressing the country in a positive direction for everybody?
so yes, it was good when it was making progress, but
Oh, okay.
so when,
Because that's what you said. Like, and it's not a gotcha popcorn. Like you said, hey,
Well, it kinda
we were
is
the
a
ones that freed the Emancipation Proclamation. Abraham Lincoln was a Republican, right? That's what you
Right.
were proud of when you were
Right,
trying
so-
to do a gotcha. No, wait. So
Well, wait,
let me
today when
let me tie it
Democrats
together,
call themselves
popcorn. So that was progressive
What do you mean
ideology.
progressive?
Hey, we probably shouldn't be enslaving human beings. Let's progress forward. That's progressive ideology. So what
Right.
you yourself claimed was the best part of the Republican Party, and now the opposite of the legislation the Republican Party is putting forward was the best of you.
right,
What
so-
you used as a gotcha moment is now the opposite of what you guys are up to in Congress.
So can I respond? Yes, no.
Sure. Yeah, silence is
Okay.
usually like
All right, great.
acknowledgement that you can.
Okay. So yes, it is the traditional definition, the political definition of or the non-political definition of progress. Today, what we see, Democrats call themselves progressives. They used to call themselves liberal. Then that became a toxic term.
Nope.
Then they said, "Well, I'm not liberal.
Liberal
I'm-
is a complete.
None of those are mutually exclusive.
Yeah,
All of
liberal
those
is a
things
different
can.
word. Liberal
Yeah.
and progressive are not synonymous. They are
It
two
is.
different things.
They're the same."
They are not the same. What's the
what's the
definition of a liberal?
So what's the difference between progressive and liberal?
What is the definition?
Oh,
of
I'm asking
liberal?
you because you said that they are
Yeah. What is the definition of liberal? You said they're the same things, right? So tell me what the definition of liberal is.
So I'm asking you, how are they different?
No, I understand, but
you
you
can't tell
said
me.
they
Got
were
it.
the same. Hold on. You said they were the same. I'm asking
They are
you
the same.
how.
Okay, I'll answer you because I was a second grade teacher. So popcorn, the answer is progressive, or progress is about saying, I want to move forward, right? I want to know what's next. I want to progress forward
Okay,
in
now the
time.
political
A liberal, and I'm now just reading the definition, willing to respect or accept behavior or opinions different from one's own, open to new ideas.
Okay. And now what is
Now
progressive?
they're related, right? Or they can work in concert with each other. But the main difference is that they're two separate words with different meanings.
Right.
So when Democrats called themselves 10, 15 years ago liberal,
There are
and
still
then they-
Democrats that call themselves liberal today.
so when Hillary Clinton called herself liberal and then she switched, well, I don't like that term anymore. I'm a progressive.
When did
What
she
did that
do
mean
that?
to you? Back
When did
was
she
running.
say? When did she say I don't like the term liberal?
Back when she was running against Trump.
She said I don't like using the term liberal. I would prefer to be called a progressive.
Yes,
When did she say that?
I just told you.
No, you said when she was running against Trump. Like if you're like,
Yeah. Do you want an exact
did
date?
Hillary Clinton?
Oh, dude, you're not going to
say
find it
she
that way.
Does
Jeez.
not
Right.
like to be called a liberal. Why wouldn't I find it that way?
Are you using Google or what are you using? Because Google ain't going to find it because
Oh, really? Google's not going to find it?
you would have to be more specific.
Then did Hillary Clinton say she does not like to be called a liberal? What should I Google then?
During an interview, in an interview
It was
on
in an interview?
an interview, he said, "I don't like that term, liberal.
Are you sure it was in an interview?
I'm a progressive." Yes, and it was.
It was in an interview where she expressed her preference for the term progressive over
Yes.
liberal.
Yes.
That was at the DNC. That was at a Democratic primary debate in 2007.
Okay.
She said,
Now you're
consider
talking
myself
about
a
how
modern
someone
progressive."
identifies, right?
This is what she said. I
nothing
consider
wrong to
myself a
identify.
modern progressive, someone who believes strongly in individual rights and freedoms, who believes that we are better as a society when we're working together.
Okay.
So that's what she said.
Yeah, and let me just give it to you this way, Pop,
she
because
used
I
to call
think like,
herself
wait,
liberal.
Popcorn, just listen to me for 2 seconds and then you guys can argue. I think this is a better way to describe it. Like, you're so focused on liberal is not the same as progressive. I think those terms can be used. Some people would identify as a progressive liberal, or maybe, hey, liberal seems to be something that triggers the right, so maybe I'll drop that term and I'll say I'm progressive. You know, like you're talking about how people identify. Each person
Like
can
fiscal
identify.
conservative.
Yeah, people can identify differently. But here's the point of the difference between a conservative and a progressive, right? A conservative is saying, specifically conservatives in the South, who've been the same people who were profiting off the transatlantic slave trade. They are saying, in the 1700s, when the Constitution was ratified, right, the people who were recognized were straight white male Anglo-Saxon Protestant landowners. And I like that. I like that women couldn't vote, right? And I, as a conservative, I want to conserve that. When you hear like legal views, I'm a constitutionalist. That's people saying in the late 1700s, when the Constitution was written and who it recognized, which was essentially white male landowners, I don't want to progress from that point. Right? Conservatives say, I'm going to dig my heels in and I'm going to conserve the way things were during the original writing of the Constitution. I am going to dig my heels in and stop progress. I don't want equality. I don't want women to vote. I don't want to create equity, for people that suffered through the transatlantic slave trade. That is the difference, right? Progressives, we want to move forward, create equity, create equality, create opportunity. Conservatives say, I like the way things were in the 1700s, when 3/5 of a black person was a person.
Right. So I guess what I was trying to get at is the term liberal has been redefined over decades. It has, because the traditional sense and definition of liberal is limited government, free markets, individual liberty. Would you agree?
Of liberal? No.
Yes. Okay. So it's a quick Google search.
No.
Look it up.
I'm literally looking at it right now.
Okay. So what you do is look back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and even 80s. The term liberal meant limited government, free markets, individual liberty, protection of rights, all that stuff, right? Y'all would call it classic liberalism or classic liberal. Now, the new definition.
No, I need to help you. Hold on. I need to just help you. No, I need to correct you because I'm not wasting my time. You are now you were Googling things and now you're talking about neoliberalism, right? That is something to do with finance. And let me help you. Neoliberalism is conservative, right? Neoliberalism was Reagan saying, don't worry, things will trickle down. Just let the free market. You just were Googling the word liberalism and you are confused now. You're in finance and you think anywhere I see the word liberalism, that's relating to progressives. It's not. Neoliberalism is conservatives and it's the onset of globalism. So you're lost. Stop Googling things. You don't know what you're talking about.
No, I'm cooking you and you don't like it. So protection of rights has what to do with finance.
Yeah, that is happening or it's not. It's what are the others? Something's happening up here, Popcorn.
How does the protection of rights fall under finance?
Okay, fine. Let's go down this rabbit hole here.
Let's
go down this rabbit hole here, Popcorn. Let me follow you down your bullshit rabbit hole. All right.
Fall under finances.
Okay, great. Hold on.
No, you can't answer.
Hold on. Let's follow you down here. Who is advocating for individual rights in the United States?
I would say the Republicans.
You would say Republicans are advocating for individual rights in the United States of America.
Yeah, like boys playing girls sports, men playing women's sports.
No, hold on. We're not going to go down the trans debate. I want to go. I want to go. I want to go a different. I want to go.
That's bigotry.
Yeah.
Now you're just
being bigoted because you don't understand. You don't understand biology. So that.
Oh no, I do. I have 2 daughters and I got a son. I'm married. Been married 23 years. I have a mom, 2 sisters.
Fantastic. And
that has nothing to do with biology. But thank you for giving.
Where did you get your biology degree?
Family tree.
Well, one, you don't need a biology degree to know that men.
If you're going to talk about biological issues, you should probably have a biological understanding of the world around you. Correct.
So when I tell you 2 + 2 = 4, do I need a math degree?
No, because that's simple third grade math. And what I'm saying is that you have a simple third grade understanding of biology.
It's simple first grade education. Boys are boys and girls are girls.
So how does intersex work then?
It is.
So how does intersex work?
So
No, Popcorn, answer me this, biologist. How does intersex fall into your definition of biological people?
Do you know what intersex is? Do you know what that means?
Yes, we all know what that was.
Okay, what is it?
First grade. So that's somebody born with both parts.
So how do they fall into the binary man, woman, male, female?
Okay, so now you're lumping in men pretending.
Well, how does it work?
No, I'm not. I'm literally asking you.
You're pivoting.
No, because I'm not pivoting, Popcorn. You said that there are men and there are women, right?
So how to treat that?
Hold on. Right. Yes or no? Is that what you said? There are men and there are women. That's basic biology, right?
Yes, and then everything else is a birth
intersex
defect.
People work then?
Well, that's a birth defect. And I would say that that should be handled on a case by case basis. But boys who were born boys who grew up to be men pretending to be women, that's a separate issue.
Is Lainey around here anywhere? Because I would really like to have.
And I can tell you, I can answer because I read medical studies all the time.
I would just like to have a
if she
trans
is
representation up in here to talk about.
No, but I do want to say, let me just tell you, just so you believe that. First of all, I don't like the word defect. Right? That's not correct.
It is what it is.
It's not.
Literally not.
It's literally not.
No, that's normal.
It occurs. Yes, you just got it right. It occurs naturally in nature, just like yes, it occurs naturally in nature at an average percentage of times. People in the Homo sapien genus are born intersex. Yes, that's a natural occurrence.
And so
just like we know through hold on, I'm not done, Popcorn. I'm just telling you facts about actual biology. Just like we know that it occurs naturally, right? People are born trans naturally, and we know this through medical studies, an average percentage of times in the Homo sapien genus. This is a natural occurrence.
Okay, and so individuals that were born male or born male should.
You said it's not a defect. It's not a defect. That's
Where is that happening.
Yes, I promise you that shit's happening. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Okay, but can we just agree that you were completely wrong about what you said about intersex folks and about trans people? That's a natural occurrence, an average percentage of times. It's not a defect.
Right.
You feel like it is.
Yeah.
It's not a defect. It's a natural occurrence in Homo sapiens. Period. For hundreds of years.
Lakin is here?
You feel weird about it. That's what you meant to say.
No.
I love Lakin.
No, I don't feel weird about it, but I will say,
thank you.
Hold on.
Is being born
No, Popcorn, you
blind or
definitely
deaf,
feel
is that a
weird
birth
about it.
defect?
Now,
Yes or no?
you go on mute because someone's going to help you learn
Yes
something.
or no? It's a yes or no question.
It's not. Hi, Lakin. How are you?
Matt. Hey,
Be a birth
Felice.
defect. Yes.
Hey, Popcorn, hold on, because I'm going to let you talk with Lakin now, okay?
So I don't have much time.
But this won't take long.
Popcorn, you're going to have to shut up.
Popcorn, I've seen you in many lives. You don't listen, for one. Two, many people have talked to you about this, especially Lainey. So what do you not understand today?
The fact that
Lainey has already talked to you about this,
yes, and
Yes.
he got dog walked.
and
Yes, I
and
dog
you're
walked Lainey.
still coming
No,
up
you
and
didn't dog
spewing
walk
this same
anybody.
bullshit?
But
You
He
not
dog
dog
walked
walked
scientific
anybody.
fact.
yes. No, so what Lainey and I were talking about was the case in Georgia about the woman in a coma who is pregnant and
Lainey would
Not
never,
pivoting to
Lainey
your
doesn't
weird
talk
other
about
right,
things.
right.
Yeah,
and that's
no.
what Lainey and
we're
I were
talking
talking
about.
about. So I don't know what Lakin is talking about.
Lainey
But-
has dog walked you on the trans topic.
I've never talked to Lainey on the trans topic. You get the wrong
That
person.
is the
I've
only
talked-
thing Lainey talks about,
Yeah.
pretty much.
No, me and him talked about the
Who?
Her, do not, first
When,
off,
yesterday?
do not
Do not what?
misgender Lainey, first off.
That's a dude.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Nope. Done. Nope. See, and it's that simple. I'm not platforming bigots. It's that simple. Fuck you,
He has
Popcorn.
been
Somebody
going
block him,
around
please.
to a ton of different platforms, and Brett has dog walked him on the 2A debate. Like, he's everywhere.
Yep. No. Fuck that shit. No, I don't give a fuck. Like I'm done playing. I'm not gonna sit here and try to change the mind of a fucking bigot piece of shit. Nope. And that's how you do it. I'm not platforming bigots anymore. If you come up and say some out of pocket shit, you're gone. I'm not having there's no debate with that anymore. Period. I'm not the one.
He doesn't listen.
Yeah, I'm not the one. Lakin, I appreciate you coming up, bud. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, buddy. You too.
You're awesome. Have a great day.
Bye, Lakin. Love you.
Bye.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, CDC and Pew Research, 0.5 to 1.2% of U.S. adults identify as transgender, 1.4 to 2.7% of youth identify as transgender. In Europe, 0.3. I mean, all of these, you can look up statistical analysis and understand this. Like I always, which it's very different, like how you identify as your gender versus sexual preference. But another great example is like Homo sapiens, that's humans, but we are still animals, right? And homosexuality also occurs naturally in other mammals, right? And you can, the percentage of which homosexuality occurs in other mammals, like dolphins, is pretty much on average the same as it occurs in Homo sapiens.
Weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's so weird that once you get in, and you can look up the studies that show that, you know, like, and again, trans people didn't just appear. We talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
It used to be that if you were left-handed, right, in the Spanish Inquisition, they were unaliving people for being left-handed. So that, you know, that you would never admit to being
We're not allowed
left-handed.
to be left-handed in the early 1900s.
And so now it's very similar with autism, right? Like in the 60s and 70s, if you were autistic, you were being put in sanitariums or insane asylums and unalived. It didn't behoove you. There was no benefit to saying, hey, I'm on the autism spectrum.
Yep.
But as time has marched on, because people are like, why are so many people suddenly autistic?
Yeah.
No, we just stopped making it super scary and unaliving people and committing to them to a life of torture if they were on the autism spectrum, right? We just got better with our diagnostic tests and how we identify people on the spectrum, right? Science has marched on. We have learned more. Same with trans people. Same with left-handed people. All of a sudden, it's okay to be left-handed. You're not going to be burned at the stake for being a left-handed person.
Because I would be burned at the stake.
Why popcorn? That was super disappointing. Popcorn, everything you said, you should say, I feel like.
Right.
I have all of these bigoted feelings. I'm scared of things I don't understand, and I'm about to yell a bunch of them at you.
Yeah.
That's what you should say before you go in anyone's lives. Like, hey, I have all these feelings I don't know what to do with. They're probably pretty bigoted, and I'm about to yell them at you. None of this has to do with facts.
Or science or
anything
reality
else.
Or anything. It's, yeah. No, that shit was crazy. Yes, left-handed people have rights also, God damn it.
Remember what we were talking about with conservatives and progressives? He can't get past the political spectrum. And then he's like, and now let me yell it. The whole time he was waiting to be a bigot.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, I know.
Is it time for me to be a bigot?
If you just wait long enough, they will expose themselves in the worst possible way. Because here's the thing, and this is how modern day conservatives in the United States think. It's either this or that. It's black or white. There is no nuance. There is no, there's no spectrum of things. It's either you're this or you're that. That's it. That's all it is. And there is absolutely nothing in life, in this world, in this universe, that is this or that. Nothing. There is not two people that fall into everybody is like this or everybody is like that. It doesn't exist.
Before science marched on, like, what is the word for left in Italian? It's like sinistria, like the sinister left hand.
Right.
Because they believed anyone who was using their left hand was demon possessed. And then what happened? We went ahead, popcorn, and we marched on from that bigotry. And then we're like, oh shit, I guess we can't discriminate against left-handed people because that's making less and less sense. Like, who's the next people, right? That's what happened. It used to be gay marriage. Remember with popcorn, you were yelling about the gays getting married, and then what happened? The conservative Supreme Court was like, up a burqa fell, and then you're like, shit, we've got to other some other people. Like, you need to look at patterns, right? That is the hallmark of fascism. There has to be somebody to other. Someone's always out to get you. And popcorn, let me say, you said many misogynistic things or ideas while you were up here. I was a Division I athlete. If the only time when I hear you care about women is to be like, what about female athletes? We have many problems in women's sports. If the only time conservative men suddenly care about women is to demonize immigrants or demonize trans people, miss me with the BS.
Yes.
Like, I will not have a conversation about women's sports with some bigot who conveniently is like, hey, I don't believe women can be raped. I discredit women at every turn. But when it's convenient for me to punch down on trans people, suddenly I'm pretending to care about women. Please shut up.
Yep. And that's the whole thing. I only care about women right now because it's advantageous in my bigotry against trans people.
Imagine like the last ditch effort against I'm sorry, why can I not remember? What's the guy in Secot that Senator Van Hollen went to get out?
Kilmar Abrego.
Yeah, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. What was the last ditch effort? I mean, before the fake knuckle tattoos, it was, his wife filed a protective order against him. I'm sorry. We have millions of unprocessed grape kits. Are you saying that any woman who filed a civil protective order against a man in this country, should we send them to a concentration camp? Because I'm actually on board with that. I'm fine. Maybe people would stop hurting women if that was the case. If the only time you suddenly care about women is to punch down on undocumented immigrants or to punch down on trans people, you are a joke.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. The only reason and that all of this started because one swimmer tied for 5th. That's how all this started. One swimmer tied for 5th.
And the hundreds of millions of dollars that the conservatives spent convincing people whose brains aren't working so good.
Right. Yep.
Right. Let me help you guys. It doesn't matter if you're a woman, you're a man, you are 6 koalas stacked on top of each other wearing a trench coat. If you go into a bathroom and do something creepy, it has been illegal for 100 years. Right. You cannot go into any bathrooms and be a creep. Right. That it has always been illegal.
Right.
Period. Yeah. Surprise.
Crazy.
But for some hundreds of millions of dollars were spent, particularly in swing states, convincing weird, insecure men that something was happening that was never happening. Mm-hmm. And now I have to hear about this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. I love it's like you said, the same group that are defending women's sports right now are also the ones that will take any chance to make jokes at their expense. Any chance. Pull funding from them so that they can fund their ridiculous, underperforming football team. I mean, listen, let me just ask this question. And Felice, I know you know the answer to this. How many World Cups has the U.S. men's national team won?
I do know a lot about this.
It's crazy, right? How many have the women's national team won?
More. And more importantly, because I know what the argument always is with men. They're like, oh no, but the men's team generates more revenue. Wrong.
Right.
When the women's team was generating and winning all these World Cups, they generated more revenue, more advertising revenue, and still were paid cents on the dollar to men.
Less. Yes. So it's crazy, right? To me, that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, these conservative Republican men are really worried about the integrity of women's sports.
Care about women. Yeah.
When
you guys are in the streets fighting for my bodily autonomy and to process the millions of unprocessed grape kits, right?
Yep.
And to pass legislation so women can are believed by police. When you're helping women's causes that are actually, when you are looking at the maternal health deserts that are being created in the South by these AB laws, the rise in sepsis rates, the rise in maternal mortality, the rise in infant mortality, when you're talking about real issues that women in this country are facing, then I will take you seriously.
Right.
You are not serious. You do not give a shit about women. Oh, I love when these things. Thank you for the corgi licking my face.
Yeah, they don't.
You're just insecure.
Women, once again, to insecure men, are the scapegoat for their bigotry. That's literally it. Women are once again to insecure men the scapegoat for their bigotry. And the problem is that they're dragging women into the bigotry. They're dragging other women into the bigotry.
Oh, for sure. And telling us, what's a real woman? You're being discriminated against. You know who's discriminating against me? Like the men, the white male American citizens who I disproportionately need to be scared about assaulting me. That's what's keeping me up at night. If I want to be safest, I will live in a neighborhood of undocumented immigrants. They're 30% less likely to be incarcerated. Mm-hmm. Because they're trying to remain, I'm actually safer amongst undocumented immigrants than white males. We know, I was a victim of SA as a child. If you're trying to protect your child, who would you need to protect them from? Let me help you. It's not trans people in a bathroom.
Nope.
It's familial relations.
It's people
dads,
that have their uncles, their cousins.
Yeah. Don't worry about the people that have consistent access to your children.
Their pastors.
Exactly. That's who you need to if it was really about protecting children, I would never hear another word about trans people. Here's a study I recently, do you know who is disproportionately assaulted in bathrooms? Trans people.
Women.
That's when you do not, and I'm talking about trans children now, when you do not allow trans children in high schools to go in the restroom of the gender they identify, they are more likely to be assaulted and terrorized.
Yep.
They are literally, trans people are in more danger in this country than children, than women, than men, than anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So all you conservatives out there, and I try to make a very concerted effort to say conservatives and not Republicans, right? Because conservatives are the ones that are out there doing this shit. Conservatives. Now, granted, the vast majority, there might maybe be one Republican that isn't a conservative, that doesn't identify as a conservative. But Republicans are overwhelmingly conservative, but it's always been conservatives that have pushed for the restricting of individual liberties. It has always been conservatives that have fought for the status quo in the government. It has always been conservatives that have been concerned with the wealth of their rich friends and not the food or lack thereof for their poor neighbors.
That's the irony of Popcorn's statement. He's like, I'm proud of Lincoln and things that happened in the Republican Party before the party switched. That was progress. That was a progressive movement, right?
Yep.
The same people, the conservatives in the South have always been against progress because they're profiting off the transatlantic slave trade and don't want to give up equity in their piece of the pie, right? So if you're proud and you like to make the absolute asinine argument about the party switch, what you're saying is, I'm a progressive. Then follow progress and you should be voting progressive, which is no longer the Republican Party. That progress is now happening on the far left. So if it's about progress, you're not
at the geographical location of Republicans, right? Where were the majority of Republicans located in the 1860s?
the North.
Where are a majority of Republicans located now?
The South.
Oh, shit. That's weird. Yikes. Yikes on bikes. Oh, fuck.
They're the same people. They've always been in the same place down there. You guys, you can find them. They've never moved.
They haven't gone anywhere. They're the same people. Insane.
I want to say this again because I want to be clear. It's not to say there's no racists in northern states. Of course there are. It's not about there's hate. Like, I'm not saying I know every Republican's heart and Tommy's got hate in his heart. I'm talking about conservative legislation, right? That disproportionately, systemically discriminates against brown and black people, against the LGBTQIA, against lower income people. The big beautiful bill is a conservative bill for rich people to conserve, not just conserve, but transfer wealth to the top of the economy. It's the largest wealth transfer from the poor to the rich in one bill in U.S. history.
Yep.
That's conservative. That's conserving the way things were in the 1700s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. The whole argument is dumb, unfounded, and it's like you've said the entire time, Felice. They need to start their conversations with, "This is how I feel about this," because you're not coming up here with facts. You're not coming up here with any kind of intelligent discourse. You're all in your feelings, and they are some big feelings. My God, are they big feelings?
Democrats suck for you're having some you can come up here and tell us about your feelings, and then we can talk about the facts around your feelings. You are welcome to express your feelings to us. You're having some down there.
Until you get bigoted, and then you're fucking gone. Like, no questions asked. Just straight up fucking gone. So you say some bigoted bullshit, then you're out. So,
Yeah, you can come up and talk to us about your feelings, which are not based in facts.
None. You have no facts. You have no truth.
And
Nothing.
this is my advice to men, because it is men who disproportionately are being creeps in bathrooms. If you cannot go to the bathroom, like in Walmart, hold your breath, look at your feet, pee and leave, just use your bathroom at your house. I think some of you are not capable of not being creeps in bathrooms, then you should not be in public restrooms.
Yeah.
I don't want to look at anyone in the bathroom. I'm like, I have 30 seconds before I pass out from holding my breath. I'm not looking at anyone. I'm like, I'm running out of oxygen.
I'm not exactly sure what's going on in these bathrooms, according to guys. Like, we're not going in there and having conversations with one another. Like, if you're going into, I don't care who you are, if you're going into a bathroom and you're having a conversation with somebody in there, can you fucking stop? That's weird.
Not talk to me.
Yeah, don't fucking talk to me. I'm trying to shit. Leave me alone.
Holding my breath. I have 30 seconds until I pass out on this floor, which is worse.
I don't understand. Like, maybe I'm just missing like what bathrooms are for.
This is why conservative, I know conservative men are creepy. Like, if it sounds like you guys are creeping around in bathrooms. I'm literally like, I have 30 seconds before I go unconscious on this floor, and then more germs are on my body than I previously wanted.
Yeah.
Like,
no,
MAGA's like, someone's up to something in bathrooms, and by someone I mean me. Like, yeah, we know.
For real. And I just, like, first of all, this is, yes, these, since we're talking about bathrooms, let me just go on this tangent real quick. These bathroom bills 100% are going to affect the ability of trans people to move into and out of spaces that they need to go in to, you know, shit or piss or whatever the fuck, you know. But it's also going to affect women that don't meet this ridiculous standard of what a woman should look like, right? If you are a woman, born a woman, identify as a woman, but you happen to have masculine features, it happened to a woman a couple of days ago in, was it Louisiana? Maybe, I can't remember, where they thought that she was a trans man walking into the women's bathroom, and she was born a woman, she was a cis woman who got out of McDonald's. It was like this dad and his kid beat her unconscious. Good
job, MAGA weirdos.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this isn't just going to affect trans individuals. It's going to affect anybody that doesn't meet this Republican MAGA standard of what a woman should look like.
You can't talk about science. Like, I could go into, like, there are ranges of testosterone, right? For men and women. Like, I have more average testosterone in my body than a lot of men on the lower end of the spectrum, right? Why do certain men in this country have higher average testosterone levels? We could get into eugenics, right? Like, that's what the transatlantic slave trade did. That's why black women have higher average testosterone levels, or some do, as a result of eugenics and breeding and what happened during the transatlantic slave trade. But you would have to be intelligent to understand any of this.
Right. Yeah. You have to have some level of intelligence. Like, going back to that popcorn guy, he had a third grade understanding of biology. XX, XY.
There's men and women, and that's all I got.
And that's it.
That's it. That's all I learned.
It's the same third grade understanding that they have about the Constitution. It's the same third grade understanding that they have about the economy. It's like all of these Republican MAGA idiots stopped learning in the third grade. They had one 15-minute sex ed video, and they're like, I know everything now. I need to stop learning about anything. I watched this cartoon in my third grade fucking about I watched Kindergarten Cop, where the kid walked in and said, girls have a vagina and boys have a penis. And I was like, got it. Fucking Kindergarten Cop. fucking nailed it. I need no other education than that. And you stopped. That's literally it.
I mean, and I think it really goes into like, I'm sorry, like the truth is that the average trans woman is more beautiful and more attractive on average, I think, than most women are in general. Like women are not, we're not super like, right. And I think men like there's a lot of straight men that their real fear is due to the patriarchy. Like, oh my God, I can't possibly be attracted to someone that's not, assigned female at birth. That's my worst fear. Does that make me gay? Like, right? Like that's the types of things that men don't know how to make sense of or struggle through. And that's gender constructs. Like I'm attracted to all types of people, mainly just people who aren't idiots.
Who aren't assholes.
Yeah, whose brains work. That's who I'm attracted to. And
I'll even
you need to
go
think,
with somebody
why
that's
are you
a little
obsessed?
less intelligent as long as they're not an asshole about it.
Well, that's true. Okay, yeah, we could start there. Don't be a weird bigot. And then like it's like, oh, does your brain work? Well, I mean, when I say people's brains work, I'm saying like you're smart enough to not be a bigot at that point, to understand like that things, it's binary concepts are those are constructs, not reality, right? And like I would never think, hey, this person's attractive to me, like I need to see their genitals. That's how MAGA, why are you obsessed with genitals? The last thing I'm ever wondering is like, now I need to inspect this person's genitals. Like I'm just like, hey, that's
Can
a beautiful
I see your
person.
Birth certificate, please.
Yeah, exactly.
That this is like I'm attracted
I'm
to
sorry,
you, but I need to know
maybe
that you've always been.
I need to do a genital inspection because your worst fear is that you're gay because maybe you were exploring your sexuality during your formative years and you got an erection watching gay porn. And ever since then, you wondered, what does that mean for me?
Yeah.
Sexuality is a spectrum. Like, I know that's what it is. Meg, I know that's what it is. Like, let me just tell you, I've watched a lot of gay porn. And by gay porn, I'm not even talking about women and on women. I'm talking about two men having sex. I can't be a gay man. That's not possible. I'm a woman. But do two men having sex, is that sort of attractive to me? In some circumstances, sure. Now, I can't be, that doesn't make, you know what I'm saying? It's okay, right? The act of sex is erotic.
I feel like
regardless of who is engaging in that sex. I'm trying to help MAGA out with their problems. I think maybe this will help some man out there is like, wait, I'm not gay because I saw gay porn? No, you're not. You're gonna make it.
I was that weirdo in the bathroom and got a little too excited about it, and that's okay.
Hey, it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like I think we got MAGA. We're helping them out here.
I know. I feel like they need therapy sessions. It's going to be okay. Just therapy. Because you saw a trans woman who was the hottest woman you've ever seen. It happens to me all the time. Like, yeah, they're hot as shit. I know. It's okay, though.
It's okay. You're going to be okay.
It doesn't mean anything about your sex. Just calm down.
You're not broken. Just enjoy the feeling inside of you for a second. Like, stop.
Exactly. Someone brought up a good point. It's not at the Democratic National Convention. Grindr did not break in Chicago. Grindr is a gay hookup app. When the Republican National Convention took place in Milwaukee, and if you don't believe me, you can look this up. Yes, Grindr did break. The servers did go down.
And hey, live your truth. Live your truth. Just stop demonizing everybody else for living theirs.
Exactly. Don't be angry because you find someone attractive. It's weird. Just own it.
Just fucking live your truth. Just stop trying to make everybody else an asshole for living theirs.
And make everyone fear being who they want to be. Yeah, it's okay. Exactly.
Like, hey, you know what? Good on you. I hope you got yours while you were there. All you Republicans that were on Grindr. I hope you got it figured out. Now just accept that that's okay, and move on with your fucking life. It's literally that simple. It is that simple. It's not a complex thing. It's like, all right, I don't know. Maybe I'm attracted to men. And that's okay. Moving on. Literally changes nothing about me as a person. Nothing. You can
That's
still
something
be
the
the
UFC
UFC asshole bro that nobody wants to invite to Thanksgiving. You just also happen to be that, and you like men.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. Sexuality is a spectrum.
Yes.
Gender is a spectrum. It's okay.
You can still be the crypto bro that nobody wants to invite to the movie theater.
Oh, and here's the best
part. Be
part.
that guy.
The crypto. Whoever screams the loudest, like when you're the person that hates trans people the most, we know that you are attracted to them. I just want to help you out. If you are the biggest bigot against gay people,
we know why.
We know why. You know what I mean? It's always the ones screaming the loudest who are like angrily
of the world.
giving themselves a Andrew Jackson at night.
I'm telling you. It's like, and listen, just live your truth. I promise you will feel better as a human if you just accept that this is who you are and you just move on from it. Be like, all right, well, this is just a part of my life. Kind of like how I like comic books. I also like men, whatever. Doesn't matter. Or women, or all of them. Like, or maybe no genders. Like, I just like people. Like, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Just live. Fucking, it's the what's the show on Apple TV about
we
soccer?
Could see Popcorn's search history on the internet.
I'm sure it's I'm sure
it would be
a
very
wild,
telling. It's always the one screaming the loudest.
Live.
Why do you care that much? That's my question.
Exactly.
Why?
The fuck do you care?
It seems like you care more than the average person. I think you need to ask yourself why.
It's rich that they're like, all you care about is sex and sexuality. I'm like, you're the only one talking about it.
The left didn't. I love when they're like, the left is obsessed with trans people. We didn't spend hundreds of millions of dollars of ads talking about trans people. We didn't introduce hundreds of bills to take basic human rights away from trans people. You are obsessed. Yeah. And then you are, let me help you. Freud was right. Read Interpretation of Dreams. Freud was right. Decades and decades ago. You are projecting your own preoccupation and shame and obsession onto the rest of us. And yes, I will protect anyone's rights. Everyone can have the right to self-actualize, as you can. It's okay. Yeah. You can self-actualize too.
Are we co-opting TDS? You know how the right uses Trump derangement
syndrome?
I
mean, that's just a projection of their own
derangement syndrome.
I mean, that's what it is. It's a projection of their own fears and insecurities onto everyone else.
And I promise you, MAGA, if you just accepted that that's who you are, you would be happier. You would be happier. You would feel this weight just lift off of your shoulders. Like, oh, man, I feel so much better. Like, that's one thing that I've just been carrying around with me that I no longer have to carry. And I feel better about myself now. Just do it. Just like Nike says, just do it. Just accept it. Just let it happen. Just let it happen. You're gonna.
I talk about this all the time. White men, MAGA men, this is for you. The minute I run a statistical analysis and mathematically you are being discriminated against, when you're making 62 cents on the dollar, when you're disproportionately more likely to unalive in childbirth, whenever everything is against you mathematically, not you feel like you're being discriminated against. Yes. But mathematically, when legislation upon hundreds of pieces of legislation are being introduced every day to statistically discriminate against you, then I will be in the streets protesting for you.
100%.
Just like I'm doing now.
Yeah, like 100%.
It's just, that's not reality. You feel like that's happening, right? Equity and equality, when you're used to having 100% of the pie, and maybe someone's like, can I have a little piece of this pie? Like, can I vote? Can I self-actualize?
Right.
Can I do all the things that white males have been doing in this country for 100 years? And white males are like, someone's discriminating. Someone is taking something from me. Why are people taking all this stuff from me? No one's taking anything from you. They're just asking to do the same things that you've been doing.
Yeah.
And that feels like discrimination to you.
Yeah. You're gonna be okay though. I
You
promise.
guys are going to make it. I promise
We're
you'll
gonna
pull
make it.
through. Mathematically, nothing's
yeah,
wrong.
I
You
mean-
guys have all the advantages.
All of them.
And if you really want to be in a meritocracy, it doesn't seem like you do. You guys keep screaming about discrimination and you're trying to kick all the brown people out of this country. What happened to the meritocracy?
Right. I don't know.
Funny thing is, you people get your own pie. What? What? Funny thing is, YP get your own pie. Goob. What?
What?
No, there's only one pie.
Thing
It's
is
just one
you
pie.
Get your own pie. There isn't more than one pie. It's literally
There's just
everybody's-
one pie.
There's literally one pie. And for a very long time, it's not a pie to be split up. Everybody gets their own.
Y'all take guess. Yeah, if Agpiz, do you want to work? Just reading names.
Democrats suck is back.
Yeah, just that's fine. There's like 3 people asking to request. Which one of you is the smartest of the 3 people asking to speak to us? Could you confer amongst yourself and decide whose brain's working the best?
None of them.
Yeah, AGPIZZ. You'll have to explain that name. I don't know what that means.
That's right.
It's not a pie to be split up. Everyone gets their own. Goob, you're of the 3 of you saying dumb things in the comments. That was the dumbest.
There's only one pie.
What the? Do you understand how fractions work? Like, are we?
There's only one
Dear
pie.
Jesus Christ!
There's not certain rights over here and then certain rights over here.
Everyone has their own personal Matt.
Yeah. This isn't the fucking book reading program from Pizza Hut.
This is not Book It.
Yeah, this isn't Book It, right?
There's not as many little pies. Oh dear Jesus!
This isn't Book It. This is literally just there's human rights and either everybody has them or they don't. That's it. That's it.
Can we explain the party switch? I mean, it's easy to just Google and read about it, but here's what's important. Conservatives in the South, mainly plantations, were benefiting from the transatlantic slave trade. And then, what happened was around the time LBJ, who was a Texan, became president, they were forcing the Civil Rights Act through, right? And then a bunch of conservatives in the South who were at the time Dixiecrats, technical Democrats, were like, if you're going to give rights to brown and black people, then we're not going to beat Democrats anymore. Mm-hmm. And it really is about the labor of migration of labor to factories in the North. I think that's the easiest way to talk about it as well.
Yeah.
But conservatives in the South were perpetuating slavery. Then during Reconstruction, Jim Crow laws that would keep black people and brown people from being able to vote, or even things like read. That's why public schools are funded through property taxes. That's an extension of Jim Crow law. Right? That's saying the richest people, which predominantly were white people, their property taxes will go farther. So per student, there's more money. And in the poorest neighborhoods where disproportionately brown and black people live, there'll be less money per student. And that's why it's so ironic that white people, MAGA, who disproportionately are on the lower end of the income scale, particularly in red states, want to get rid of the Department of Education. The Department of Education has nothing to do with curriculum. Zero.
Nope.
Curriculum is set by states.
Yep.
The only thing it ever did was recognize that the way public schools were funded were an extension of Jim Crow laws during Reconstruction in the South. And what we needed to do was supplement that dollars per kid in lower income areas, or for kids with disabilities, or so kids could go to university, right? It's creating equity for poor white kids. You know who the biggest recipients of Title IX were? White women.
Uh-oh. That's a stat that exists.
So you're all going to make me cry. So many well-read people. I'm not used to this. I know. There's so many smart people on these lives. It's amazing. It's refreshing to not be around idiots. I know. I agree.
It is. Nice. All right. It is 3:45.
I think we can end it
Eastern
there.
Time. I feel like we're
Maga, save this up for next week at this time. If any of you come up with any genius arguments,
we'll help
just
you process your feelings.
yeah, it's next week, 8 a.m. or 11 a.m. Eastern time, where you guys can tell us more about your feelings and how you feel you're discriminated against, and then we can use math.
Tell you why using Grindr isn't a bad thing.
It's okay. It's okay to have sex with men, Maga. It's fine. You're going to
totally
make it
fine.
through it.
You can do it. You might.
I
even
do
enjoy
it. I did years ago. It's not great, but you can get through it. I promise.
Maybe you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, probably like it more than women do. I promise.
Probably. Yeah. Perfect. All right.
Thank you so much, Matt. Such a lovely to see you. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for being patient with me. It's only been 1,000 years since I've been live because I've been all over the fucking place.
How can I ride your coattails to the top if I'm not patient?
No, I'm just trying to learn a quarter of what you already know. So if I can get there, then we're good.
Bye, guys. I'll see you guys.